Yeah, actually, thanks for reminding me to upload the thumbnail for tonight's episode. A lot of bad things happening in Torreon with Santos, and they're in a bad spot right now, and a lot of the fans are very unhappy. But yeah, Champions Cup kicked off tonight. Honestly, as far as watching it, if I'm not mistaken, here in the States, it's through the N. But I also saw that in Mexico, it was going to be exclusively through Tubi. And I actually got my first experience with Tubi last week when Chivas played Leon, and Leon decided to host that game on there exclusively. So I had to get a VPN to watch that match. It worked out, but yeah, it's kind of inconvenient. It seems like everyone's trying to promote Tubi now. I even saw that they're gonna have the Super Bowl on Tubi. So I don't know what the fuck's going on with that, but it reminds me of like when VIX was coming up and everything had to be on VIX. So I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, no, it very much so gives off that vibe. If anything, for me, it kind of harpens back to Pluto. It feels a lot like Pluto TV
Oh
with a
yeah.
couple exclusivity contracts. Now, I too this past weekend had my first experience with Tubi, but I don't know your broadcast, what you ended up watching. I was lucky enough to catch a broadcasting of Fox Deportes on Tubi. So it was all the Fox Deportes names, it was their regular broadcast. So the commentary was pretty good, but I've also seen where they have, if any of you guys know el podcast de Padilla y los primos, that they were on there and they've done commentary for other Leon games. And if we're honest, those guys aren't really the best or most professional, but they are entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. I always enjoy like listening to the Mexican broadcast versus the one that we get here in the States because professionalism's out the window. They sometimes they even start like shit talking. And there's a lot of things that can fly on the Mexican broadcast that won't fly here in the States. But I always try to like watch the Mexican broadcast, especially with Chivas and Amazon Prime.
Ah, sí. ¿Y por qué? ¿Por qué es eso, güey?
There's a lot of talent on that broadcast. I'm just gonna leave
It,
it there.
it's a good broadcasting team. I've caught a couple games, and you know what? Even more, it's the cameras are really nice. You get a really full 4K shot when you're using the Amazon network. And then the other thing is there's zero ads, man. It plays really
Oh, that's
clean
good.
compared to like, let's be honest, man. And I was talking to my wife about this the other day because she was like, "Why are you upset? Why are you just yelling at the TV?" And it's like, because it's bullshit that it's like the 20th minute and they just went to an aspect ratio where two-thirds of the TV is being covered by this big ass ad,
Yeah.
while the actual game, while it's in real time, gets put in this small picture-in-picture frame. And guess what? Era una pinche jugada de gol.
I know, man. It's really bad. Like they've really hoard out the ad space during broadcast. And it's always in the most inconvenient times. It's always on a breakaway or always when there's something interesting. Or like, I don't know why they'll like cut to a play that really wasn't that good or relevant. It's like, oh, this was like the all state like save of the game. And they're like cutting, from the game to show a replay. I'm like, bro, fuck that. Like, show the fucking game, man. Like, what is wrong with y'all?
Like, yo, bro, we're on the attack. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we're playing on their third of the field. Why are you cutting it? It's one of those things that never made sense to me. To this day, it still doesn't. The other thing that I've been noticing, and I've said it before, and you know what? I'll give you guys a little hint here. If anybody is listening to us that has any type of pool in their marketing department, Lion Media is who's doing the AI ads on TUDN, Univision for the banner around the match. They have not sold all of that ad space, and they keep running promotions for their own promotion company, right? Like you're out of here type of bullshit like that. But the thing is, they're now selling the score line on the banner. They're selling all of the ads around the game. They're selling that three-quarter view of the picture in picture. And yet, in the middle of the game, like while they're broadcasting and commentating, they stick in another ad like Budweiser, la cerveza más fría. Like, no mames, way. How much fucking advertising do you need to put this? Especially the fact that I'm watching this bitch on VIX, where I'm already having to pay for a premium
Yeah.
subscription.
That's the thing, man. It's like it's not like we're getting this for free. We're still paying money every month. So you would want an ad-free experience. I'm overwhelmed with the amount of subscriptions I have. Like I had Amazon Prime and it was cool, but like now it's like, "Oh, yeah, we're going to throw in ads. So unless you want no ads, you got to pay a little bit more." I'm like, "Bro, are you fucking kidding me, man?" It's like it's already pretty expensive. And you throw ads on top of it. It's insane, dude. We have Joel joining us. Joel, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Greetings, gentlemen. Greetings. Is this the first topic of the night?
We were talking about the Champions Cup kicking off in the DR. Cruz Azul beats Real Hope 2-0 on the road.
Ah, yes. Yes, and then how horrible watching Liga MX is. Yeah, I agree, gentlemen. I agree. Hopefully there's something in the horizon to fix all the viewing, because I do think in the long run the league and the clubs will lose money with that format.
Hey, Abdia, so you're going to have to explain this to me. Vicente Sanchez, is he interim or is he like your official coach now for Cruz Azul?
Well, as of right now, we're doing the whole interim, right? He was fighting for his job in this jornada doble or jornada triple, if you really want, over the last 3 games. So they played on Saturday. They they tied. They played on Tuesday. They won, and then they played on Friday again, and they won, and that gave him that allowed him to keep the job. They're
Oh.
saying that they're still talking to coaches. They're still trying to see what's going on. Pero neta, way, I fucking hate an interinato. I think it's the worst thing ever. And then after, I don't know if you guys watched the game tonight, but bro, he was trying to play Pepo Guardiola ball. All right, he was trying to play Pep ball, and if anybody knows about Pep ball, is that it's been exposed. They figured out how to counterattack it because we've all looked over at City and they've been getting their shit pushed in.
Wow.
All right. If you guys can remember this weekend, the chants of "Stay humble, you cunt" were very loud and clear over at the EPL. So what they were doing, first off, oh, I know I talked shit about this a couple weeks back, but apparently we fucking got Emil Choa. That one flew under the radar for me. Apparently it became a thing, and now he's our third goalie.
Yeah.
He's at home, so fuck you, Emmy. Welcome to being to a real club now.
Shout out to Emi Ochoa. Glad that deal finally went through. We were kind of like, si se queda, si se va. But Vicente Sanchez, Toluca legend. I'm looking at his Wikipedia right now. How the fuck did he end up at Cruz Azul? He went from Toluca to Schalke, returned, played for America, played some time in the MLS, and then was in the USL for a little bit and started his coaching career. And
you know who he played with in MLS?
Huh?
I didn't know that. Do you know who he played with?
What do you mean?
When he was in MLS.
He played for the Colorado Rapids and the Houston Dynamo. 2013 to 2014.
Man, I didn't. That dude fell off the radar for me after his Toluca run.
Yeah.
And then I just forgot he existed.
It's just weird to see, someone like, because I've always associated him with like Toluca and him and Cardoso.
Yeah.
And it's to me, it's always weird when you see like former club heroes end up joining a different organization. You know what I mean? Like for
Yeah,
it's like if Cuauhtemoc ended up like somehow involved with Chivas organization, it just doesn't feel right. So for him to be part of Cruz Azul now, it's just like, what, dude? Like you didn't even play for them when you were in your club career.
yeah. He must have met the right people while transitioning to the coaching.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Because even I was like, yo, who the fuck is this guy? Like, who is this coach that all of a sudden, oh, hold on,
Wow.
wait, it's like, espérate, wait, it's like, where's he coming from? He was taking care of the sub. Like, how did he even get here?
Oh, there you
Right?
go.
Like, I
You just said
recognize the
it.
name. A huevo, güey, pero like, okay, ¿cómo te conviertes en un entrenador de la sub-23?
Yeah,
Like,
well, I mean, anyone could be it. That's not that hard, way. I mean, for ex-players, no, dude,
pues sí,
they
por
pay him
ex-players,
peanuts.
pero también, güey, ¿cuántos cabrones hay en la sub that you're like, who? Wait, Lilini? ¿Quién chingas es Lilini? And then you learn and you're like, oh, okay, cool, I guess. So I saw him and I was like, ¿qué pedo? ¿Quién es este cabrón? Especially after the whole drama with Anselmi was still fresh. And then, all right, cool. We know who you are. We know what you're about. Let's see what happens. Interinatos have always left a bad taste in my mouth. Just the way it is. And but then he starts trusting the players. He kind of starts working correctly. But then today, dude, today he did that bullshit where when it's a goal kick, rather than the goalie clearing it from the back, he has the center backs line up right beside the goalie, and they're the ones who start playing the ball from way the fuck deep. And that shit kept getting exposed wicked bad.
Mm.
Furthermore, the reason why I spoke about Emi Ochoa, not because I care about him, because in my book, fuck that dude, he can suck a bag of dicks. It's the fact that we use Gudiño at, as our backup goalie instead of using Mier or even the new contract, which is typically what you do in the CONCACAF Champions, right? You use your new guys, you kind of use your secondary goalie for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, ¿qué pedo, güey? Gudiño just came back from loan. He wasn't getting minutes before. He wasn't going to get minutes under Anselmi, and all of a sudden, he's our starting goalie.
Yeah, man. Cruz Azul is just like been taking up all the headlines lately. I have no idea what the fuck's going on over there, bro.
Ay, ay, ay. Mira, güey. Cruz Azul es la única cosa que es esta pinche liga interesante.
No mames,
All
like
right?
between us and Chivas and Cruz Azul, I think right now are just they're just taking up all the headlines, bro.
It's the only thing that's fun, right? One is because it's a drama that just keeps playing out and nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Like, yo, is there lawyers? Is there not? What's happening? And then the last one, which is Chivas, is just you're poking a dead body with a stick and hope that it does something. Because let's be honest, guys, you guys looked fucking atrocious this week.
Yeah, no, we've been atrocious for a while actually. And I think we're all just trying to distract ourselves from the reality of America's three-peat. It's just not fun anymore. It's like when the Warriors were winning the NBA finals like every single year. It's like people want to see them lose, but we're being distracted from like reality, but Chivas are looking ass, bro. I went to Truckee this weekend. I was in the snow and I started the match. It was Querétaro, and I'm like, this is a match that we need to win. And Yael Paida scored, and then I left, and I thought, oh, that's gonna be the game right there. Maybe we'll get another one. And then I come back and I find out that they ended up conceding a goal, and that's how the game ended, 1-1 against Gallos. And I hate to compare ourselves, but this is the same team that lost to America's like under 23. So it's pretty pathetic to see where we're at right now.
Ouch.
No, wait, ouch is lo único que puedes decir because honestly, I can't wait till Ricky gets in here and starts talking shit about that because honestly, that's the biggest takeaway right now is that when America did it, everyone was like, "Oh, it's unprofessional. They're disgracing the league. They're disrespecting the league, right? Like, how
Really?
dare
That's
I
what
don't
they
know
they?"
about
said.
that, you know.
Yeah, wait, there was a bunch of that happening. If you guys weren't listening to it, even the Mexican
That's why
commentators
I
in
don't listen.
Mexico had to address it, where they're like, están uh, desrepresentando la liga,
Mm.
¿verdad? Porque es que están poniendo a los chavos que no le están dando seriedad. What's happening here? Right? There was this whole fake outrage of like, why aren't you taking this seriously? Why are you fielding your U23 team
Mm.
versus dead ass professionals? Well, because my U23 team pushed their shit in something that Chivas with their starters. Let's not forget, wait, you had Chicha
Yeah.
in there.
We
You
had
have like,
Chicharo in the lineup, man.
yeah, y no pudiste hacer
Yes.
ni vergas.
Well, I mean, it's a different game. You can't just because they lost think that this team has to lose now every game of the season, and that you know bad results happen. They could have just not been ready for, or just had a bad game, and don't expect just you have a horrible game and all of a sudden every team has to beat you by oleada.
For the
Um,
past year
they,
and a half,
Hey
but
everyone, I
almost
just
going
have
on
to
two
interject on
years.
this Chivas slander.
Hey,
You know,
welcome,
yes,
Rifalo. Welcome to the show.
thank you, and I gotta defend my boys. So I wouldn't say we had our starters at all. We didn't start with Caldwell. Romo was not starting. We started Govea in the center defensive midfielder spot, and he was the cause of that Perez goal. Shout out to the kid. I think his name is Jahir or something like that. Perez, 21-year-old center attacking midfielder for Querétaro. He scored the only goal for Los Gallos, and but yeah, like Govea lost his mark. This guy comes in on a late run and he puts it in that right corner, and it was just bad defending by this guy. But Govea's not a starter, and I
Nope.
don't know why Romo's not playing. But we didn't play Romo. We didn't play Caldwell. I mean, El Vaquerito. So like, I wouldn't say we were like at our best. I'm looking at our I'm looking at our lineup, and we're missing a few pieces. Hold on one sec, guys.
Yeah, we had Chicharo and Camberos starting in the striker position. You had Piojo Alvarado, you had Guti, you had Govea, Yael Padilla, Mateo Chavez, Tiva, Rey Mejia, Jose Castillo, and then Rangel in the back. But yeah, the kid that scored, Aldair Perez, dude, I saw his jersey number. It's like triple digits, bro. I'm like, bro, we have the dude's like probably a reserve, and he's scoring on Chivas. That's bad. But good for him. He's young.
I liked him, and I thought it was interesting how like immediately after he scores, Guti starts shit with him, and I was just like, come on, man, get it together. Like you're like a veteran on our team, right? You've been in Europe, right? And you're starting shit with this kid who just scored on you guys. Like, what are you fucking doing? And then later on, Castillo would get sent off, and that was frustrating, because like when he got sent off, like I felt like all our chances of scoring the winner just went out the window, and so it was very frustrating for Chivas for sure. But I don't think we're at our full strength, and I don't think Oscar has found the formula for Chivas yet. Today, I mean, on that day, we started with a 4-4-2,
Yeah.
and usually we do like a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-1-3-1, and so like I think he's trying. He wasn't on the bench, right? He's not
He's
allowed on. He's been
suspended for
suspended.
3 matches for kicking James Rodriguez in that midweek
Yeah,
fixture.
and that is amateurish in itself. But like the reason he did a 4-4-2 is because he's trying to plug the goals, right? And he hasn't found the formula for Chivas to succeed yet. And I don't know how much longer we should give him, because this 4-4-2 wasn't it. and the other formations that he started the season aren't it. So like I wouldn't be surprised to see him leave, sometime soon if he doesn't turn things around. And I don't see him doing it, but I do
Mm.
think he's the wrong guy.
Yeah,
Which is unfortunate
I don't know
because
if
we've wasted another season.
Rifalo, are you the one that mentioned? I don't know if it was you or somebody else mentioned that he has like a slow start when it comes to like managing clubs, and then they finally like hit their form um, towards later of his tenure. But this is a short season format, so I don't know. I don't know how much patience the fans and the front office are gonna have with this guy because he really hasn't had a hot start, and the problem is like I get it, man. It takes a while for you to get accustomed to the team, the league, the season, the format and all that. But the problem is I don't know what his vision is for the team. I don't know what his style is, but we're not even seeing that. It's just a lot of confusion. I think like I'm over this whole like Spanish Inquisition, man. It's time for us to just get rid of that influence. It's not like Iron Man's here
I
anymore.
Are you lighting your
I'm with
candle?
you. I'm with you in that sense. I feel like maybe we should look elsewhere than like the dregs of Spain. We do need to like spend some money and get a quality proven coach, and have him work right. And then hopefully they won't be stolen away by the first competitive historic team that comes calling, right? But there are some bright spots that I wanted to touch on in regards to Chivas. You know, Mateo Chavez, who wasn't starting, we have this other kid starting at left back, but he got injured, and so he's had 2 games,
Yeah.
as a starter, and he's looked good. He provided the assist for Yael,
Yeah.
which was great. Like I love him going forward. I think he has like some deficiencies in defense, but he looks good. Camberos looks good, and Yael Padilla scoring. I think he's got 2 so
Yeah.
thus far. So like there are some bright spots. I just need Cade to get back on it. He started so strong with us, but he's fizzled out. And then Piojo, since his injury, he's been a no-show as well. His form's really dropped, and I'm also waiting on him to hit some, run of form. And then I do like that Rey Mejia started this game as opposed to that scrub Portales. I don't like Portales. I don't like Sepulveda, but I do like that Rey Mejia is starting, and hopefully we see less of Portales.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you because I know that Mateo Chavez set up Yael Padilla in that goal against Leon. What did he do the same for Querétaro?
I might have been confused there. I might have been confused. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, because I know he crossed the ball, and that's what ended up being the assist there. But yeah, Mateo Chavez is looking good. When he came onto the scene, was it last season? I was talking mad shit, bro, because he was making a lot of mistakes.
No, it was Castillo who provided the assist this game. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
sorry, I had
okay.
it mixed up with last game. But
Yeah.
Castillo, he gives and he takes. He had that red card, which is unfortunate. It's uncharacteristic of him. I expect more from him. He's been a stalwart. But I'm sorry, you were saying something else.
No, yeah, just saying like Mateo Chavez, like, dude, I was we gotta go back to the first episodes when he made his debut. I was like, who is this fucking kid, man? He's making a bunch of mistakes, equal de papi, and then he who the fuck did he headbutt and took him out for like couple fucking games? Like he was out for was it Tiva? He like headbutted Tiva. And yeah, dude, it was just like a shit show, but he's grown, man, and I like what I see out of him. And yeah, man, I think there are some silver linings to this Chivas. What's going on with Moso? Is he like injured? I feel like I haven't seen
Yeah, I
him.
believe he's coming back from injury. He hasn't started. This is like I think his first appearance or his second appearance.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems out of form. I think he's lost a lot of pace, and maybe he finds that again. Because I do really like him, but I don't think we played him as a right back when he was subbed on. He was more of a right midfielder,
Mm-hmm.
and that tells me that the coach doesn't trust him in defending. And the same thing can be said about Mateo Chavez. He
Yeah.
wasn't the first choice because of his deficiencies in defense. And I think Moso's the same, but more so due to injury as opposed to Mateo with inexperience and like just like frailties physically. So like I'm interested to see like how he's gonna play Moso. I do like Moso going forward, but I feel like playing him as a right winger is kind of a waste. Or a right midfielder is kind of a waste. So we'll see what happens with that.
We'll see what happens. They have their Champions Cup debut on Thursday, and they will be playing a team from the DR, Cibao. I think they're expected to win this, but with the way Chivas have been playing, it's it's
How
anyone's
did that
game.
even happen? How is Chivas in any champion cup?
I'm not really too sure. I know
What
that they had
was those handouts?
I don't know, man.
It was those. It was those like FIFA handouts, like sending Miami to the
Look,
Clubs
man,
World Cup.
nothing that nothing that CONCACAF does makes any sense. I know people have gotten their jimmies all rustled because of the latest rankings in CONCACAF. Columbus is the number one team in CONCACAF. I don't know
Oh
where
yeah,
they
joke.
and they don't explain it at all, like where these rankings, like what's
Yeah,
weighted and stuff. But yeah, the rankings right now, I think they're in first, and I think America's in second. So yeah, ruffled some feathers.
damn. Yeah, that right there's a joke. America should be in first place. No denying that. Even just if you're getting points per league, um, it should be Liga MX the
Yeah,
top rated. And if you're like, well, how are you going to rate that? Well, who's winning your Champions Cup? Right? Liga MX dominates it. So I mean, if
yeah,
you're using at least that as a criteria. So yeah, it's like you said, they do it to Russell Jamies and to make these games more interesting, so that people now you have to show them,
it's like, hey, look, man,
Now,
I know that the U.S. is hosting the World Cup next year, and they want to give credibility to MLS. So having Columbus as the top 10 club in CONCACAF, like whatever makes them feel better at night. America's in second, Tigres in third, Pachuca in fourth, Rayados in fifth, LAFC sixth, Cruz Azul seventh, Inter Miami. What the fuck have they done? They're in eighth, Toluca in ninth, and Leon in 10th as of February 3rd, 2025. Those are the CONCACAF top 10 rankings.
Well, but the thing to keep in mind here is that it's not necessarily decided by CONCACAF rankings, but rather their individual performances in their leagues, right? So, for example, for Liga MX, uh, the the champion and second place get automatic placement. So as of right now, you have Club America and then you have Tigres. The remaining clubs are decided by whoever has the most points between Apertura 2023 and Clausura 2024. That's how you qualify, at least from our end.
Okay.
For the MLS, it's give me a second. Winners of the 2024 MLS Cup will secure their spot in the competition during the regular season Eastern Conference and Western Conference champions. The next two, once again, punch their tickets because of whoever gets the most points during the regular season. The Canadians only have a slot for two clubs. So therefore, what you get is, you know what? Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not 100% sure on this. I'm kind of like reading it up as we go right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to do more with both the 2024 champions, the Canadian Premier League, and their Shield winner are the two that go.
I see.
Right, so it's not necessarily due to the rankings, but rather how they perform in their own leagues.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking how the fuck did Chivas get in. It doesn't matter though. So if Chivas get past this Dominican Republic team, guess who they play in the round of 16? America.
Now, hold on. Before you get your panties all up in a bunch, remember, America might be el gigante de Mexico, but at the international stage, they choke.
Oh, ho, ho.
All right. They choke at CONCACAF. They choke at leagues. They choke at Libertadores. They choke everywhere. All right. So let's
Wow.
not forget that fact.
Shots fired. You got anything to say, Ron? Welcome to the show.
For this generation that has all their information at a click away,
Yeah.
they're fucking idiots.
Yes. You walked into that one, Diaz.
I cannot believe. I mean, I'm in the analog stages. I still prefer fucking magazines, like actual magazines. But Jesus Christ, you have the information. It takes what, less than a fucking nanosecond.
Dime, papá, ¿cuántas Leagues Cups tienes? Ninguna. La vitrina está seca. Ni una sola.
What about CONCACAF? Who's the leader in CONCACAF?
Sí, güey, pero ¿cuándo fue la última vez que la ganaste?
Doesn't matter. You say you choke. How the fuck do you choke and still be at the top?
¿Cuándo fue la última vez que la ganaste?
Doesn't fucking matter. You have the most. America has the most CONCACAF titles.
Wait, that's looking at the past. That's like cuando esos cabrones hablan de la grandeza de Chivas, que ya no existe.
I'll be honest, man. When's the last time America won this shit? Because I gotta go.
Exactly. It's a myth, just like la grandeza de Chivas. It's not there.
Jesus Christ.
America's last Champions Cup was in the 2015-2016 season. They beat Tigres. So it's been a while, man.
So I think they beat Vancouver in one, and then they beat Tigres in the other.
And then they lost to Monterrey in 2021. I remember that one. Yeah,
there is no. Let's just put it to you this: America is number one in everything, in terms of points, wins, and league. Okay.
In terms of cheating, I agree.
Árbitros comprados, televisoras que les dan todo, y la afición más putos que hay.
Number one fan base of Maricas too. You guys have that one.
And let's not forget fair weather fans, because we have one, not right here, but he likes to hide and listen to our podcast. Whenever his team is doing bad, you don't see him. We have to put a bolo out for him. Pero luego viene.
I don't show up because it's fuck. Dude. I mean, what do you want me to talk about? We're great. Of course, we're great.
No, wait. I'm not even talking about you. Pero si te queda el saco, póntelo.
Okay. I was just saying, it's like I'm so fucking tired of just talking about America winning. It's like, oh god, that's how tired I am of fucking America winning.
You know what I'm tired about is so if again Chivas get through to this round of 16, they'll play America, right? And that's 2 legs. And that'll be on March 4th. And then Chivas will have to play them again in regular league on March 7th. So we could potentially have we could potentially have like 3 clásicos in the month of March, and in this current form, I'm just not looking forward to that.
So are you telling me that you're not going to set a wager with me?
I will. I just gotta pick one though. I feel like 3 matches, it's a little bit overwhelming. I think Chivas will try harder in the Champions Cup than they will in the league. Maybe we'll knock them out. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. I meant to ask. I forgot to ask you. Did you see that tweet or how they were accusing Chicote of basically poisoning the well in order for him to go to America? Did you hear about that?
I think I heard some rumblings about that, but I don't know how much of that I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, all I'm gonna say that it is a little bit shady, right? Of this
What's
guy,
shady?
just the circumstances surrounding around the Chicote move, right? And how it all kind of played out. It's like, wait, you weren't even like the top guy, yet you get this contract through America just because that shocks everyone.
It's just weird that, Chivas, especially in this market where they are struggling to get players and retain players, they allowed him to go scot-free. Like they didn't pay a transfer fee or anything. He was a free agent when he joined America. We didn't get anything in exchange, so I thought that was a little bit weird.
That's on the directiva though,
Pero no, güey,
or
no, no, no.
not?
El pacto de caballeros existe. What do you mean you didn't get anything? Of course you got something.
No, he was a free. His contract
No.
expired. He went for free.
Yeah. Pacto's like when you have 6 months remaining. If and or if the club is holding on to you. Um, if he left like that, that was like kudos to Ame. That was a pretty slick move.
I think his wages were too high for us, and we had kids coming through, like Mateo Chavez. So
I know, but you
he
could
was
have
good
sold
bidding.
him.
Yeah, I'm just
You,
saying, like
you
we
could have
didn't
still
get anything, because we paid
or a
Necaxa for
trade.
him. We paid
Yeah,
money for him,
transfers,
so it's like
anything better than free.
you hate to see him go, and then it's like you hate to see him go for free, and then go to your rival, bro. It's like damn, it's like a triple loss right there.
And then
And
perform.
then win 2 championships. It's kind of like when you watch your best friend fucking your ex-girlfriend and he's doing it better
Dang.
than you.
Oh my god.
You're
I
like,
was, I thought you were
damn,
gonna say
bro.
she
I
looks
don't know
hotter.
why you use that as an example. It
But-
sounds a little personal, man.
No, that's just how I have to pitch it to you guys because that's what's happening.
Because you was a freak, man. You just every analogy is always a sex analogy.
I mean, it's fun.
I was reading a story about Kanye and like how he weirds people out in the studio. Like I guess he always has like porn on, and he made like people uncomfortable because he's like recording music, and I guess like Daft Punk, when they were collaborating on Faster Stronger, like they started to have like hallucinations, and I'm like, I wonder who would win in that room if it was Kanye versus Abdias. I don't know who would get weirded out.
Kanye would be scared of me, bro. He'd be like, yo, he's way too anti-Semitic for me. Like, this guy is just out here talking about
Diaz and Diddy would be
geopolitics.
the better rivalry.
You know what? I don't know, man. If you gotta use drugs to keep it up, you're just not in my league. All right,
Yeah,
acá
but
pa puro
that
natural.
dude smashed Carl Winslow away.
You need some of those honey packs.
El otro güey estaba smashing Kim Kardashian on the regular. And if you want one of my favorite lines from
that's
him
easy.
is like, yo, you got a sister-in-law that you would fuck? I got 3 of them.
Oh, I got 3 of them. Yeah, that's a great song. Anyways, bringing it back here, we're gonna have CONCACAF Champions Cup action tomorrow between Rayados and Forg, 5 p.m. and then right after Tigres and Esteli. Again, for those here in the States, my understanding is that they're all through the N, maybe VIX. But if you're in Mexico or have a VPN, you can watch them for free using Tubi. And, I tried it out today because you can actually run a VPN on a Fire Stick. So it's pretty easy to change your location to watch Mexican broadcasts. So that's a pro tip there. I wanted to get into the big news tonight. I mean, it's already a few days since it's been announced, but Santi Gimenez officially joins AC Milan, and it's made some waves across the globe. Very nice of Feyenoord to give him his flowers. They put a compilation of all his goals. It was about 20 minutes long, and he did a lot, man, in a short amount of time over in the Dutch league. The Fisherman's League is what I call it. And now he's in Serie A, which, isn't the glorious Serie A from my childhood in the 90s. But I have to acknowledge the fact that he's joining a historic club. I won't call them a big club because right now they're not, but they are a historic club in Serie A. They have the most Champions Leagues in Italy, if I'm not mistaken. So, shout out to him joining a good club, and we'll see how it goes.
Look, before we all start throwing chingazos about this one, all I have to say is Santiago Jimenez. Santiago Jimenez. Pa' que vean, putos, lo que es creerse en sí mismo y a picar piedra, ¿verdad? Now, what I want to hear is I want to hear an apology coming from this fuckface over here who's constantly saying que no, it's a fisherman's league, that he's subpar, this and that. And now that he goes to a much better league, he still has something to fucking say about it. Like, come on, man. What more do you want?
Are you talking to
Uh,
me?
Yeah, you. You're the one
let
who's
me
always complaining
hold
about
on.
it.
Let me interject here, okay? I have to agree with what Tuca Ferretti said about this, and he's happy for him, as but he said that Santi scoring one goal in Italy is the equivalent of scoring three goals in the Dutch league because and he said he goes he's going to have to learn how to beat defenders or defender two on one. He's not going to be able to poach, and he's not going to be able to be just like just like a one touch um, forward, center forward, and stuff like that. And I have to agree with that because Santi's going to have to be a different type of. He's going to have to play different playing in the City A. And I hope he does. I hope he fucking. I hope he kills it over there. I mean, at least for the sake of the national team and stuff like that. But I mean, listening to Tuca, because I kind of had the same thought about this. Like I'm wondering how the hell he's going to make those adjustments because he's not going to be scoring goals on the counter attack and stuff like that. At least not at least for the few games that I've seen from AC Milan and stuff like that. Um, it's he's got his work cut out for him. And I hope he makes those adjustments.
I mean, he does have his work cut out for him because there's this giant wall between him and his
Full of shit.
midfielder. Exactly. Like, yo, they're building that wall between the US and Mexico. I don't know, lob lead passes. Something's going to have to get working there because it's not going to go through the ground, much less por el aire. So we'll figure it out.
So there have been issues with AC Milan this season in regards to their striker position. I mentioned this in the last pod, but they had three strikers. They just offloaded Morata to Turkey. So but the three of them, Morata, Jovic, who was bought by Real Madrid a few seasons ago, rotted on the bench, bounced around, ended up at AC Milan. He's the third choice, or he was the third choice. I don't know about it now. And then Tammy Abraham, the English guy from Chelsea, who was at Roma. Um, None of them were able to score consistently, and so the goals have been coming from Rafael Leao and Christian Pulisic, and so I feel like unless the strategy changes, Santi's gonna struggle because he's not a facilitator, and so like if these guys are banging the goals, then you have to like facilitate them, right? Unless like they change and they like give you the goals or give you the opportunities. So I'm interested to see like how he overcomes this new issue that he's gonna encounter, and also AC Milan is bleeding. They're eighth in the league right now. They have a great squad. They've added Jao Felix as well, and then Kyle Walker from Manchester City, who kind of lost a few steps in his pace, but I still think he's going to be a good player for the Italian league. We'll see what happens, but yeah, he does have his work cut out for him, and I think he might also be competing against Jao Felix because Jao Felix can play the striker role, prefers the 10 role, or you can put him on the wings. But he, unlike Santi, is a facilitator. He can play towards the wingers. Um, but it's not all bad for Santi, right? He's in a great league. He's in a historic club. AC Milan is second only to Real Madrid in Champions League. So like they are a
Wow.
historic club. They've kind of been shit for a long time, and then they finally won the league again after not winning it for close to 10 years, I believe. And then now they're kind of like declining a little bit. But one good thing about Santi is his connections. He has a super agent, right? Mendez. And Mendez is also the coach of AC Milan's agent. Conceição, Portuguese guy from Porto. And so, like, usually Mendes people stick together, right? Like, Mendes is gonna, like,
Hmm.
push for this player that he's gonna, make, that he's made a lot of money off of and wants to continue making more money in the future. He's gonna tell his guy, the coach that he brought to AC Milan, play him. And I think he's gonna have that to his advantage. So it's not all bad, and it's a good test for the guy. I hope he overcomes it.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to have to what like do you think he's going to have to basically build up the skills kind of like what Raul Jimenez did of like for me Jimenez became more effective when he started to get more involved in the attack, sometimes even having to go back into the defense. Uh, because, like I said, I mean, I really see, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I do see Santiago Jimenez struggling for a good while in the Italian league, and I hope I'm wrong. And I'm thinking that maybe the only way that he can really, start to be more productive is basically not depending so much, just getting like balls on the flank and stuff like that, and be on the counter attack, but being able to not only be able to do that because he's very good on the counter, and I have to give that to Jimenez, but like sometimes it's like for example like the last goal that Jimenez scored over the weekend. I mean he fucking created that on his own. I mean he fucking stole the ball and then he he looked
Oh, that was a
he looked
beautiful goal.
yeah, he
Yeah.
was. I mean, but he tends to do that. I mean
Yeah.
he creates, he has to create for himself, and so I mean he's good on one-on-ones, he's good on the counters and stuff like that, and I'm hoping that Santiago's able to do that. But I do think that one of the things that really helped, for example, Chicharito and helped Jimenez is they hit the gym. And for me, Santiago seems like he still needs to hit the gym a little bit and become a little bit stronger, because I think the Italian league is a very defensive league and it's a very physical league.
Yeah.
I'm not, perhaps not as physical as the English, the Premiership, but it is a very physical league, and that's where I'm hoping that I'm wrong, and I'm hoping
Yeah.
that
I
like I
mean,
said,
you don't have to go that far. Look at how much Chucky Lozano struggled when he went to Napoli. And, it took him about a season to really break into Serie A. And at that time, he was being coached by, was it Gattuso? I mean, he was pretty hard on him. So, I think that him going from the Dutch league where, anybody can score goals there. I mean, the defense in the Dutch league is pretty atrocious, to going to what arguably probably the league with the hardest defense, at least historically. It's going to be a transition. It's going to be, there's going to be some growing pains there. But the fact that they handed him the number 7 and they said, "Hey, like, you're our guy," like, that's all the confidence you need. And, it's only going to make him a better striker for the national team. So, kudos to Santi Gimenez. And, it's been a while since we've had a Mexican at a big club. And, happy that he's on the map now. I think I'm overwhelmed with the amount of like publicity that he's gotten, and like him standing side to side with Zlatan. I'm sure that's going to be a great partnership there. You can learn a lot from him, and maybe we'll get ourselves a world class striker in a couple of years. Who knows?
So I just wanted to touch on real quick, on what Ron was stating. And the thing is I don't think he can become like Raul Jimenez. I don't think he has the same intangibles, because even in his America days, Raul can take a man on. He can like take one, maybe two guys on his own just through skill, right? And Santi doesn't have that. He's good at attacking space, and I think he could be more like Oliver Giroud, where he can be like a great target man. And yeah, he's got to hit the gym to do that. But like that's where I see him excelling at, or like if he finds success at AC Milan, it'll be because he fills that role, like just a pure 9, old school target man that you can hoof it to, and he's strong enough to hold the ball and play others. So like I don't see him finding like the same sort of success in Europe that Raul had, and I think that's unfortunate. But I do think he can be that classic nine. And yeah, I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
Well, really quickly, just to kind of develop on that one and a couple of the things that have been said, is the fact that you have to look at Santi and his career building up to where he's at now, right? When he was first at Cruz Azul, he was playing as a false nine. His job was to get the ball and have to make a play for himself. He had to develop his own play. He had to pass it off to the wingers in order to be able to develop. So the way that AC Milan is playing right now, that helps him. Someone who can catch the ball in front of the defender, pass it off, and then create the run is what they need. It seems like it's what they've been missing. So he can plug into that style. He can work that system in his favor. So that's the one thing that kind of gives me a lot of hope is that Santi's a really good falls nine. Now, when we talk about the publicity that he's been getting recently, I want to speak about the TUDN publicity, right? And how all of a sudden they're super proud of him and bien hecho and this and that. But let's not forget that for the longest time, TUDN and Televisa did everything that they could to discredit him. Every single time that it was a Mexico loss, they would put Santi's face on it. Every single time that Mexico would win, they would put Henry's face on it. Every single time that
Damn.
anything negative happened, it was always Santi's fault. And now all of a sudden, they're like, no, felicidades, que quién sabe que todo lo demás. No, wait, let's not forget that you guys have been breaking his balls the whole fucking time and kind of pretty much trying to make him into Layun, right? Todo es la culpa de Layun.
Are you saying that it's a classic case of morro prieto, morro güero?
Pero al revés, güey. A mi güerito acá se lo han estado puteando para arriba y para abajo.
No, I have to disagree. I think Santi did receive a lot of criticism at first, but it had to do more with who his father was and the belief that he was there just because of nepotism. But here's the thing: that may or may, there may be some truth to that. Because obviously the father had, knowing the system, knowing the ins and outs of League MX, maybe that helped him out. But at the end of the day, if you don't produce, you're fucking out of there. And that's where I see the value of Santi, that he was able to overcome this. And it's funny because uh, not a couple months ago, I was watching an interview with Sagan. He was talking about, he went through the same thing, because of who his father was, So I think that's where most of the criticism with Santi was so much with how he got to the first division, how he got to a club like, Cruz Azul, through his dad's, the connections and stuff like that. But, at the end of the day, I mean, no one's talked about that, for a good while now, because Santi, he's been producing. He was producing at Cruz Azul. Obviously, he was producing at the Dutch league, and I mean, now he paved his own way and got himself into AC Milan, and hopefully he can earn his stripes there.
I think what helps his stock is that he's Mexican, but he's also Argentinian. You know what I mean?
Nah,
I
I
think
mean,
what's also
I don't buy that anymore, because he arrived in Mexico when he was 2 or 3 years old.
I know, but he looks Argentinian. I know that helps because Milan's, or not Milan, but Italy's a very racist country.
Fun fact: he actually plays in Europe under a Italian passport.
Really?
Yes.
Where's he has it? He's what?
Wait, los argentinos son italianos, güey. They have that tie.
Oh wow.
That's how he
all you
plays
need
it.
is a grandparent to hold a European passport, and then you'll get one. You'll get grandfathered in. But like what another interesting point about this AC Milan move is that the current owners or the majority owners of AC Milan is Red Bird Capital Partners. It's an American firm. And so I believe that this is part of a larger plan to expand AC Milan's popularity into North America.
Oh,
We have
interesting.
Christian Pulisic, we have that other guy Musa, and now we have Santi Gimenez. And so like I do feel like they're focusing on North America in preparation to the World Cup, which is going to see the sport grow in popularity in the coming years. And I think it's a great investment. I do. For too long, we've been overlooked here in the North of America, and they've looked to South America. So I think that's another interesting aspect to this move.
Yeah, that's a good call out. I know that that fucking jersey is gonna sell like crazy in the fucking Pulga, and all that stuff, dude. All the yeah, dude. The number 7 Jimenez jersey, that shit's gonna sell, bro. Milan's got historically
it
beautiful
already
jerseys
did.
too.
It's already been selling.
Yeah, man.
But the fun fact for me was, 45% of sales coming from the U.S. Sales were in the U.S. and Mex, but more in the U.S. 45% compared to just over 20 in Mexico. That's I'm willing to bet that's a lot of people buying all 3 shirts. Just give me one of each. Uh, but it just speaks volumes of the marketing here, not the marketing, the buying. And you guys complaining about mole tours and whatnot, but you need them because you need to sell jerseys, you need to sell merchandise, and look just how much um, it's being bought by the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And when we see like just the ratings, it's what, 2 million, the highest ratings, 2 million compared to Mex, the whole country. So it's massive, man. It's massive. That's a lot of money moving through here through this section of Mex fans.
Yeah, man. The Tianguis are gonna go crazy with that AC Milan jersey.
Is that the one you're getting, Jaime?
I don't
You're
know.
getting
I haven't bought jerseys in a while.
the Youngies.
I
I
want
need to
that
get me one.
125th year anniversary one. I might have to get that one now. You guys seen it?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. It's nice.
Is that the
If they
white and gold one?
Me, I'll get it.
No, it's a red and black one, but it's just very old school. No sponsorship. Looks great.
Their training kit is fucking nice. The only thing that dirties it up is the fact that they're sponsored by eFootball.
Oh, really?
I had an old Adidas Milan track jacket. I'm pretty sure it was beat up. I wore it till it
I
fell.
liked them back in the day because they were the bad boy club. I don't know if you guys remember that era, but Gattuso was definitely a bad boy. And then you had Cassano. I don't know if you guys remember Cassano. He was like this Italian guy with unfathomable technique. And then you had Zlatan and, some other people that were
Yeah,
part of
Milan
that.
had Pirlo, they had Nesta, Maldini, they had Dida. I mean, I remember the Milan in their glory days when they were, fighting for Champions League titles. And yeah, I mean, that historic choke against Liverpool, I'll never forget that one.
Oh, I saw that game.
But then they got their revenge, in 07. So yeah, I think Milan's a great club for him, and good for Santi. The other Jimenez, I was really upset. He had a really good match. Fulham was struggling, and he, like Ron mentioned earlier, he took a ball, he just stole it, and then countered and ended up scoring the goal. It was a thing of beauty, and then they proceed to sub him off. I don't agree with that. He was having a great match, and his replacement ends up scoring the game-winning goal. But Yeah, I think Raul got the man of the match award too, but yeah, dude, I think he deserved the full 90 against that game, uh, Newcastle.
It was the first time they won away at Newcastle, and I think like 20 plus years.
Yeah, it
So
was
it was a
crazy.
historic night for Fulham, and I saw that
Well,
game. It was a beautiful attack created by Jimenez basically, but the assist was from Robinson, the left back for United States. So those two guys connecting is interesting, and yeah, like North Americans getting down.
I thought
Kudos to them.
it wasn't Traore because I know him and Raul go back from their days at Wolves.
No, it happened on the left side. I could be wrong though, but I'm like 90% sure it was Jedi Robinson.
I know he was involved in the play though. I mean, him and like Raul and Traore are just like peanut butter and jelly, man. They just have such a good partnership, good chemistry. They always set each other up for goals, and yeah, I enjoy that partnership. I'm glad that they got linked up again at Fulham. But yeah, dude, Raul's having a great season. Hopefully he maintains the stamina. I'm not sure why the coach insists on subbing him out most matches. Like,
I'm gonna say if the if his deal was made, you don't want to risk him getting injured.
yeah, I guess that could be it. I'm not sure. We had Liga MX action on the weekend. Let me scroll back a little bit and go over the Wednesday results because we broadcasted on Tuesday of last week and we only got through 4 matches. But on that Wednesday, we had uh, Atlas and Monterrey tie 3-3. That was quite an entertaining match there. Pachuca ended up beating Querétaro 1-0. Juarez beat Santos, and Pumas tied with Toluca 1-1. Then on Friday, we had match week 5. Mazatlan lost to Leon 2-1. Cruz Azul came up on top against Tijuana 3-2. Although, if I'm not mistaken, they were very close from another Cruz Azulada, no?
Bro, it got close. But honestly, it's one of those things where I've said why I don't like un pinche interinato. We had a fucking Ferrari going on, and then you take it to la vulcanizadora de la esquina to get a fucking patch done. Y el güey dice, ¿sabes qué? Fuck Italian engineering, bro. I can do better than that. And he starts mixing and matching and changing the entire delantera. He pulls out Giorgio, he pulls out Luca, and the whole team just goes to shit at that point. And he pulls them out way too early, and that's where they get their second win. That's where they start hitting us. And I'm not gonna lie, man, it's looking that way. It goes down to the very last fucking second for it to not happen. And one of the big things is that Cruz Azul was up 3-0 by halftime, and they
Yeah.
got cocky. That's what happened.
Yeah, they say the most misleading scoreline in football is 2-0. 3-0, man. You should be chilling, but it happens.
That's exactly it. It's just like the Juan Cambios game, where Juan Cambios made a bunch of changes and it came back and bit him in the ass.
Yeah, we talked about the Chivas Querétaro game 1-1. Pachuca tied with Atlas 0-0. Monterrey gets the one over Necaxa. Toluca beats Tigres 1-0. Santos loses to Puebla 2-0, man. Yeah, they're really struggling out there in Torreon. San Luis loses to Pumas 3-2. And America beats Juarez 4-0. After 5 matches, America in first place, 13 points. Leon has 12. Tigres has 10. Pachuca has 10. Cruz Azul has 8. That is your top 5. Then Toluca has 8. Pumas have 8. Mazatlan have 7. Juarez has 7. Rayados have 6. And that is your 6 through 10. Necaxa has 6. Puebla has 5. Chivas have 5. Atlas have 4. Querétaro has 4. Tijuana has 4. San Luis has 3. And Santos has 0 points in 5 matches.
All right, guys. So before we dive into the shitstorm that is Santos, because by God, guys, if there's something that we should talk about that's making news right now, it's how to destroy a club, an institution, deliberately. Because the Chivas thing is happening by accident, by just pure incompetence. But the Santos Laguna thing, man, like the fact that they gutted that entire team and now they're in shambles is fucking disgraceful. But we should listen to the fans. We should listen to the voice of the people. So, Jaime, do me a favor. I just linked a video. Can we please play it in its entirety for everybody to hear?
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up. Was it the Aficionado Guerrero?
Ese mero way, the one who spoke with the truth.
All right, let me see if I can get that clip going. Give me a sec. Some strong emotions there from a fan that came all the way from the Carolinas, man. That's crazy.
Bueno, antes que nada, güey, voy a ser honesto. I'm pretty sure that dude got deported, okay? I don't think he went there willingly.
he's a recent arrival. I think when Sorelegi got a team in Europe, and then they put money into Atlas. I think the writing was on the wall. If you're a Santos fan, you just became the redheaded stepchild, and I'm not surprised. It's sad. I saw a tweet where some businessman was, I guess he was calling out Iraragorri, and he was saying if you're looking to sell the team, you know, Iraragorri sort of brushed him off. But those two things, and there had been an interview. Um, I forgot I forgot the publication. It was like kind of like Business Insider type, but in an interview where he was talking about like the plans they had. And so yeah, at that point it was like ultimately it was for them to expand to either EPL or La Liga and work their way up to first division. And I would say that they're they don't have as much funds as like some of these bigger Mexican companies. So I would think it's easy to see where they're going to start putting all their pennies. And it's sad for Santos. So I do hope they sell the team off, or maybe they're going to let Junior run it to the ground, or he might surprise and you know work his magic.
But the thing is, and it's been long reported, is they're just simply not investing in the club. One of the reports
No,
that came out about, hey, what happened with Nacho? Why is Nacho having such a bad time there? when before he had been successful in other places, and it came out and it was known that they told him, "Wait, no tenemos para refuerzos, te la tienes que jugar con la cantera," y se
Yeah.
chingó. Like that's all that we have. And why did this happen? Let's not forget the reinvention tour of Atlas. That's where all the money went. That's where they took all of the players and they transferred them to that side. They got the good players playing for Atlas for a while. They were shifting pieces there. And then the last one is that now that he owns Sporting Gijon, a couple years back when this purchase first happened, it was very clear that and Alejandro made it clear that his focus was the Spanish league. Like he wasn't going to continue investing money in Mexico. He was going to go grow that league and get a foothold over there because if that's successful, he'll be able to plug in Mexican players into those teams over there. So that's the issue of multipropiedad in its core. It's the
Yeah.
fact that hey, you can't juggle all of these things and not run into a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, I know this was in the shitter when they announced who was gonna be like their VP, and it's like this 20-year-old kid, bro. It's like, come on, bro, this guy doesn't fucking know anything about business.
Wait, it's
You'd be
Chava
surprised though.
Iglesias. If you hear him speak, it's pinche Chava.
Wait, I mean, if you know, you know. I don't think the age. I know you surround yourself with the right people, but I mean, he might not.
Hey, how did
He might
Michel
not know.
Leaño turn out being surrounded by great minds?
I went. I think that's his downfall, where he gives himself too much credit because he does have, you know, he had all these resources. He he got to drive Menotti around when he was a kid and be there for trainings and whatnot. And he was part of the whole Grupo Cruyff, and he was there with Cruyff as well when he would come to Guadalajara and all the other Dutch people they brought and many more coaches that he's been around. But I think it just went to his head where he was like, you know, I got this, and
I'm gonna take Mexico and win a World Cup, and then
he's, he's, yeah, man, pretty much. Um, who knows how he would have done? And also, I think he like forced his way in there, and he just didn't put in the work, you know, because he had been coaching in the lower leagues, but you know, he probably needed a few more years. But I think the way he did things, I think he burned bridges, and I think there's probably people don't want to work with him because that's kind of fucked up, you know, to be part of a team and at the same time plotting to take over someone's job.
hmm,
So just to hop on this Santos theme, you know, they're not doing all the things wrong, but like I think they've made some good moves, like this investment in youth. You know, they just recently sold Stefano Carrillo, 18-year-old striker, to Feyenoord. So Feyenoord got their Mexican replacement.
But they've always done that. Riff Raff. They've always worked with youth. That's been their thing. They were very similar, like similar structure as Pachuca. They built a pretty good team to win a championship and be up there fighting for the championship, and then they would sell that team off and then work their way up again. But they would always bring in, like the old dude was saying, they would always bring in two or three really good players, and they just stopped doing that. Then it
Yeah,
was like,
I 100% agree in the sense that I feel like one or two players are missing from this squad. You have these two kids in center back. You have Munoz and Perez, 19-year-old and 20-year-old center backs, and they're naive in their defending. And the second
Yeah.
goal by Puebla is just evidence. If you guys see that, it's like from outside the box, no one's pressuring this guy, and he shoots it and it goes in, and people like are hating on Acevedo, but he's doing pretty well, in spite of the fact that his defense is lacking. And then they never really truly replaced Cervantes, who went off to America. They got Güemes, who was doing great things at San Luis and is also on bad form now since they've been dismantled a little bit this past season or this past tournament. But like Güemes hasn't been able to stop the flow, like the tide in the attack. He like they're wide open. Like they lose possession, and teams cut through them like a knife through butter. And so like I do feel like they've dropped the ball, or they've been naive in how they thought the season was going to go, because the window's closed, right? Or it's about to close in Mexico. I know it's a little bit different compared to Europe, and they still need players, so they should have gotten them, and they haven't. And but they are doing good things. Against Puebla, they had 12 U23 players, and some of them are very promising. But things haven't clicked. Este equipo no camina, and that's unfortunate. But I don't think it's all bad. I just think they've been a little naive in how they built this squad, and everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, man. 5 games without a victory. That's not good.
No, they also
Now,
lost like their last games last season too. Isn't it like their losing streak like 8 games or more?
Probably.
Like, yeah, Rifado, I don't know, man. I think you're giving them too much credit. Like
He
12
is.
U23 players. That's just because you
Yeah.
had no other choice, man. And then same thing with the
Yeah.
players. Like it's not like they fell off. It's like clearly ownership doesn't care. There's no relegation. There's just no motivation from the top down. It's like why the players would even try. Acevedo, if he really cares about his career, he doesn't renew a contract and he tries to go out as a free agent somewhere else.
bro, it's not
Yeah. I
even
think.
that. Like, really quickly, the fact that Riff Raff just said Acevedo isn't doing too bad, bro, he ate two this weekend, and they were like super fucking easy ones. Que se tragó, like, no mames, güey. And then to go off of Al Pastor's point, aquí está. Fucking the GOAT himself, Martinelli said it. If we add up the last two tournaments, Santos has lost 16 games out of 22 played with only 2 wins. It has conceded 40 goals and scored only 14. It has 8 consecutive defeats, right? Like, están arrastrando el legado of having have had 6 championships, doing all of these things. There was a certain point where going into La Laguna was fucking intimidating. And it wasn't because of la balaceras that were happening outside the stadium. It was because of the intensity that was being played inside of there. And the fact that they played in the middle of the fucking day in that horrible heat. But they made their stadium count for something. And now they're just very much so, to use one of your own phrases, they're a paper tiger and a shadow of their former selves.
Damn.
Yeah. I just wanted to add the 12 players. It's good. It's good for the national team. Not so much good for the club. Um. So you can't just be a farmer club, especially once you got your fans used to being consistent, being like middle middle of the table, challenging the top guys, um, and having those iconic players. I can't remember the last one they had. Was it that RG guy, the one with Atlas? I forget his name. And he would always score
Coca?
in Chivas. Oh, no, the
Pooch.
striker,
Urch.
Furch. There you go, Furch, man.
I
Siempre se
agree.
las
He was great.
aplicaba. Yeah.
He was
And
great, but
then,
but the thing is, it's like I see merit in this squad because it's more than just a score line, and in a game there are good moments, right? And you can have good moments and still lose 3-0, right? Like the game is more nuanced than just a scoreboard. right? And so I do see merit in this squad. I will say they're missing a center attacking forward like Furch. I think they're missing another midfielder, to take that Cervantes spot, and they're missing another center back because these two kids have been exposed for a long time. 2 tournaments now. Like I think if they had those three, those three spots filled, we'd have a lot more competitive squad in Torreon. But I don't see them making that effort, and therein lies the fault of the directiva. They don't, they're unwilling or unable to stop the bad times. Anyways, but yeah, like um, I agree with you guys in the sense that things are bad, but I don't think they're all bad, and I think there is some salvageable things
Wait,
about
16
this team.
defeats, bro.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot.
you,
It's not
you're
so
basically
bad.
there.
It's not so
It's
bad.
just, yeah, it's the little dog with it's sitting on the table, and the room's on fire. Everything's fine,
It's like
guys.
this is
Um,
fine.
No,
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 dude,
I'm not saying everything is
you,
fine. I'm not saying that.
wait,
I'm saying there's
wait,
merit to this
weren't,
squad. There's some good
weren't
things
there
to the squad, and
wait,
and
weren't
there's
there
some
fans
salvageable.
wearing paper bags? They follow. I
Hey,
think
but
there are
everything's
fans are
fine,
showing up
Joel.
with
But
paper
everything's
bags,
fine,
and
Joel.
Yo, look at the chat right here
you
of
can
this
verify
space.
you.
Not just was the stadium empty, the few people that showed up didn't even want to be seen as being in the stadium. They were wearing bags over their heads.
Damn.
He's
It
very
was
optimistic, mi Pablo.
embarrassing. You didn't even get to see las beauties que te dice TV Azteca que tienes que enseñar.
Those beauties.
And man, his son becoming president at first was like innovative, like, hey, I'm getting old, younger people taking over. But now it reminds me of like when Chivas presented La Afición as el refuerzo. Like now in hindsight, so
Oh,
those same vibes, man. It's like you got his
Damn.
cauliflower ear son out there just to take the blame for everything. I don't know, man. It's just a stupid move, and I'm not a Santos fan, but I would like to know what's going on behind the scenes because you can't just say you bought Atlas and now all your attention is on Atlas. Because let's be honest, Atlas is regional as well. You're not going to take Atlas to the national level where it gets fans around the country.
but no,
So
but Atlas is still. If you saw when they won, and they win their doblete, and it's just like a bigger market, and Santos never able to reach that type of fanaticism where they do have a pretty good following, and even here in the U.S., they just dropped it like I thought Atlas was going to be more consistent, and they've been a bit of a disappointment as well.
yeah, man. I don't know. I just feel like no one cares about Atlas, especially with so many teams in Jalisco, as opposed to a team right there that's the only team like in that region, and they can have like Clásicos in Monterrey, and if they had good tournaments, they were basically like America's feeder system. They would sell America always their best players, so you also had sales from there. They would bring interesting players like from Africa and shit. So how all that just went completely down to the ground, there has to be something else there.
Where the money? Where they took all their money to La Liga,
Sporty
so that's
Gijon? Nah, man, there ain't no way.
yeah.
Then sell the club. You probably get
Well,
a good amount of money for the club,
he probably feels they could,
or keep a small
eventually,
percentage and let somebody
because
else
yeah,
rebuild it.
because for most of those teams, you're gonna be bleeding, you're gonna be losing money, and so I guess that's his long term bet. And I think for Atlas, if they were more honest with the fans, I mean, and then just tell him you know, we don't have any money. We're gonna just rely on youth, and this is our plan moving forward. Um, I think there'll be a group of bit more understanding of that, but I can see why you don't want to say that as well, because it's sort of like, hey, forget it, guys. We're not gonna be competing for anything in the next 4 years, so pack it in.
Nah, man, those business people that want to buy Santos, this is where they got to take it up to FIFA and be like, hey, man, what happens to no to multi-propiedad within the same league? Because that's the reason that's happening.
Yeah,
And also with, you can't have the fight with relegation, but it's also another consequence of who cares what happened? You know, we're here to stay. We're a franchise basically now. But
Yeah,
that
and that's why it's
multipropiedad within the league, that shit got to end.
and it's like you said, it's to avoid things like that where you just stop, you know, you just stop like financing one of the teams
You
So
know,
using
I think
one
this
team
also
for
touches
the
on
benefit of
another
the
theme,
other.
like the press and the fans. They harp and they harp about the lack of youth, and then you see a team do it, and then like you see the complexities that come with investing in youth. There's a lot of growing pains. Like these guys go one down, y se agüitan los defensores. Like youth can be very inconsistent. Because they don't have that equity, they don't have the experience to persevere through some of these situations. And so like Santos is doing something that a lot of us are always talking about, but like, just look at how difficult it is. It's not easy to play with youth. And Santos is case in point of that.
Yeah, but you're in trouble from Las Carolinas to look at the under 23, man. You want to see the big team, the team that's competing for honors. So that's and it's like and it's been a few tournaments now, so it's not just this season. Like again, these fans were used to they're used to better. They were used to having a team that was gonna if they shit the bed, they would be back the next season. Very similar to Pachuca is strong similarities to how Pachuca operates.
No, but right now they're like the complete opposite. I mean, look at Pachuca, who they
Yeah,
surround their youth players with. You know, like Rondon, Idrisi, the other guy. And then as far as like what Santos is doing, no, I don't think anyone who's ever been an advocate of youth players getting a chance have asked for this type of situation, because all you're doing is you're just burning to the players. Like any players that could have potentially had a chance to be something, you're just burning through them with these terrible results. Now lack of self confidence, like belief, and you're just throwing them out there, man, to the Lions with no veterans of quality veterans to guide them. You know, like in hindsight, right now at the moment, the present, oh wow, like all these U23 players, amazing. But if you remember, like 2012, 2013 Chivas, where they had like Cristian Alvarez, El Gerardo Marin, Miguel Basulto. Like all these guys are bums that should have never even made it a second division. Yeah, back then, oh wow, look, we're giving youth players a chance. But looking back, those guys should have never even been there. They should have never been on the first team. I'm not a Santos fan, but I'm sure there's plenty of players like that their fans look at them and they're like, these are not first division players. They shouldn't. It's not an age thing. It's just a talent thing.
yeah.
yeah, it's really tragic what we're seeing at Santos, especially because they're one of the teams that have had the most success in short seasons. Them and Pachuca. So to see them being a shadow of their former selves, and I mean, Santos used to be an entertaining team to watch. And I feel like they're a team that you could root for because, like, it's a very neutral team, right? It's not like they have a big following and they're a small market team. But then they had great players like Borghetti, and they had fucking Pony Reese and stuff, and
Yeah, great player.
they were just like entertaining to watch, man.
Ludueña was my favorite.
Achita,
Dude, I think they even had Cuauhtemoc at one point.
did they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did, man. I think
Talking
that was
about
my dream
Puebla.
team up. No, Cuauhtemoc went on a world tour, man. He played, I think, in Veracruz, Jaguares. He was popping up everywhere. He, el empuja frijoles de la Galilea.
Güey, no mames. Yo no se los hubiera estado empujando, se los hubiera estado lambiendo. A la Galilea de antes, ¿sabes qué, güey? Ni la Galilea de antes, la Galilea de ahorita, güey. La que te ponen en la casa de los famosos en las galas. Respiraría los soplados como no tienes idea, güey. Como si fuera el último suspiro en un tanque de oxígeno.
It's, like, you guys remember Putazo Faitelson? and they would always give a title to Cuauhtemoc, so they wouldn't just call him Cuauhtemoc. They'll call him like La Quinta Tortuga Ninja or El de la Eterna Mochila, El Enemigo de Drácula. Oh man, good.
El jorobado de Notre Dame. I remember that one a lot, güey. El pinche jorobado.
Shit. No, I'm pretty sure he played there, but damn, damn Santos. See, Chivas fans should be seeing that and being like, things could be worse.
Yeah, but Santos' little ass team, they can afford to be worse because not many people really care.
Nobody really cares. Yeah, that's true. It's different.
Nobody cares.
You can do that if you're a small club. You can't do that if you're Chivas, man.
Nah.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate what's happening. I have a question for y'all. You know, you look at the teams that are in La Liga de Expansión. If you could pick one that would get, promoted to the first division, who do you think deserves it?
Deserves it?
Mm-hmm.
I'll take this one. The last team that was supposed to be given promotion, and then they said, no, you're not allowed to, which is La Jaiba Brava, Tampico Madero.
Really?
Yeah. They were the last ones before they closed it off. They met all the requirements. They did everything in order to go. Y al último pinche momento dijeron, no.
Wow.
Damn. Yeah, I think a part of that had to do with, I think they were just gonna, do a Veracruz is already chosen, and that's a big reason they've been, investing a lot in remodeling the stadium. So no es Veracruz. I don't know about Morelia. I know because I heard they were working on that team, but I don't know how much work they've put.
But Veracruz is tricky, dude, because the thing about Veracruz is that the club itself was disassociated from the league.
Yeah, because of Guri, not because of the owner. They just wanted, but they took it away from him.
So entonces la plaza entera ya no es parte de la liga. Ahora, si quieres regresar, how are you going to come back? You're just going to come back to first division?
Just the franchise. No, just the franchise. So
the franchise is owned by Guri.
Yeah,
he
but
owns the name.
He
owns the colors. He owns the mascot. He owns everything.
Yeah, but you could still have a Veracruz. It's just not going to be Tiburones Rojos. It could be fucking Piratas del Caribe. It could be whatever they want, fucking Dolphins or whatever they want to call it.
No mames, güey. We all know que van a ser los Piratas.
Yeah, because of their player, yeah. And it's. I mean, remember, I know you guys remember this. At one point, there was two Veracruzes, one in first division and one in second.
I do not remember that. That's crazy.
They got relegated, and then they bought their way up, but somehow kept the second team. They were both Veracruz, man. So anything's possible, man. Cody might need money, and he'll be like, "All right, fuck it, you can have your shark back."
So there's a few teams that I wanna. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I thought you.
No, go on. No, yeah, go on.
So there's three teams that I want to shout out from my Expansión. Number one is Atalante, who's number one and should be promoted.
Wait, Atlante.
Atlante, I mean, I'm sorry.
Serie A, get it to you, bro. Serie A, get it to you.
No, hold on. La semana pasada, you made Batistuta Brazilian. Now you're making a bunch of fucking beaners into Italians? Come on, bro.
It's the Serie A, bro. It's the Serie A.
If a bunch of Italians can play beaners in spaghetti western movies, I'll accept the other, and we could be footballers.
Anyway,
maybe we'll win
number
something.
One, they've been consistently good, right? I don't know if you guys pay attention. I only vaguely or very rarely pay attention, but every time I happen to look at Liga de Expansión, these guys are doing well, and so but for some reason the league fucking hates them. And I'm not sure what's going on beyond behind the scenes, but like these guys seem eternally fucked, and it's unfortunate because they've been consistent in spite of their setbacks. Another
Yeah, what
team
would be
is
the
Leones.
owners? Just really
Is
quick,
it the
they
owners?
wouldn't hate the club. They'll hate the owner. Like FMF never had anything against Veracruz. They just didn't want Cudi in there. And so I don't know who
And that might
Atlantis
be it.
owner is. I don't know who Atlantis owners are, and
Me
that's
neither.
one thing. Yeah. Oh, so
But
Leones Negros now.
yeah, Leones Negros, man. They have a big fan
Ah,
base, or
yes.
they did the last time I checked. I have family in Leon, and like there's a lot of Leones Negros fans. And they're not all Panza
Leon.
Really?
Verde.
That's weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Leones
I
Negros are in
think they're all
Guadalajara.
older, man. Maybe they've all died out now. But a while back, maybe
It's that.
10 years or so, I remember hearing like a lot about this team and how they need to be in the first division, and they're second in La Liga de Expansión right now. But I I don't know. Like these guys also seem like they're always getting blackballed as well, which is unfortunate. Because I do feel like they have like a strong fan base and they deserve more. So
Yeah,
maybe one day they can
all
get
the
their.
old heads know about Leones Negros. I have an uncle that supports them, and
Right.
when they were briefly in the first division, it was nice to see another team from Guadalajara, in the first division. And I remember being in the cab in Guadalajara, and the guy was a Leones Negros fan. He was just pissed off because he knew that they were going to get relegated. And yeah, they're definitely a team that deserves to be in the first division. At least for me, I think from what they've done is I think Atlante for sure deserves to be back. They've won a couple titles. Leones Negros, Morelia, which is one of those historic clubs that should have never left, to be honest. Especially when you see like the Querétaros of the world and the Mazatlans of the world. You're like, man, fuck them, bro. Give it back to Morelia, dude.
Yeah, at least Mazatlan has a stadium unlike Cruz Azul.
That's
¿Sabes qué,
true.
Yeah.
güey? Chingas a tu puta madre. Y segundo, isn't Atlante back-to-back expansion champions?
Probably. And I think they just moved again. They
Shit.
they moved to like Zacatepec,
Where
if
are
I'm not
they?
mistaken.
Yeah, I'm
But
pretty sure that they're back-to-back
that's a
champions.
pretty. That's also a team that could be in first.
Yeah, they could definitely be in first. I mean, Guadalajara, it's a good little cradle. They have a lot of teams. They have, of course, Chivas and Atlas. And then you got Tepatitlán or whatever, Tapatío, Leones Negros.
Tecos.
I don't know
Zapopan,
if
man.
Tecos is still
Tecos.
around. But
But then
yeah, I
you
mean
had
that's a
Oro
lot of
and
teams in that area. As far as Leones Negros with the university and everything, I'm sure like a lot of folks would like to see it. But you know
there you
what?
go. There,
Just get
I was trying to
absorbed,
think
man.
about it. You
Just
just
get
mentioned
absorbed.
that.
If you ask me, they don't deserve it on the field. But like I've said it before, I need a team on the Gulf of America. Give it to Tampico, baby. Give it to them. There needs to be a team near the beach, and Cancun's just too far. You can tell
Hey,
Liga
that's a,
MX, there's a
like that.
certain borderline that they don't want to cross.
Might actually be a contender, bro, in the
It,
future.
it could, but Tampico's right there on the Gulf of Mexico. Could definitely bring a lot of growth to that region.
Hey,
Little touristy spot.
I like Cabo. They got two teams out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be cool. A little touristy area. Go enjoy the beach, enjoy some soccer. That's something I've noticed a lot with MLS, like away games. A lot of people do away games depending on the city. If it's like a cool city.
Had some ties, but I think that that's always helpful.
For sure. It was just a question I had for y'all. I would like to see the league at least expanded to 20 teams, because we have 18 right now. 20 would be better.
Would it
Technically,
though?
the 20.
Sorry
I
there.
agree. I agree. But it's probably gonna be Cancun and Veracruz, man. Like because you need like a big city. You need you have like tourists who you could like promote this to. I think those things factor in. It's all about the money, right? So which city has the
Yep.
capacity to make the most money for you? And you have to look at these big untapped tourist cities. And if I was to bet any money on a new team sprouting out of Liga MX, it would be Cancun or Veracruz.
So Las Iguanas, that's literally their name, Las Iguanas de Cancun.
No, they were
Wait, that's
just
their name?
in a franchise.
Yeah.
Wasn't
What
Atlante in
happened to Los
Cancun?
Delfines
Or
de
at the
Cancun?
were they at?
No, güey,
Delfines.
son Las Iguanas.
Nah, but I'm
Igual
pretty sure
como
son
los
Los
Cuervos Negros
Delfines.
de Nuevo Toledo.
Los nuevos cuervos negros.
Perdón, güey, son los Cuervos Negros Salvajes de Nuevo Toledo.
Yeah, man.
No, but yeah, I think a lot of things when he changed Liga MX to make it grow is definitely get rid of multi-propiedad, find some way to keep teams competitive so they don't pull a Santos. Because right now there's what is a fine? Is there even transparency if these teams are actually paying these fines? Like who this money's going to?
Yeah, I don't think they've been very transparent about that. I know they're supposed to penalize the worst teams in the league, but has anyone actually followed up with that and made sure that the money is actually going towards that?
Last time that I heard anything about it is no, they hadn't paid up yet. They still owed the money for that fine. And funny enough is that money is supposed to be going into Liga de Expansión to help them stay financially stable.
What a load of bullocks.
Well, dude, it's Mexico. You know how it works. Money does funny things down there.
Speaking of like financial repercussions, this season it's I don't remember ever it being so hard to watch all of Liga MX. Like they've really like like just fucked the screwed the pooch with like all these extra costs, and it has to bite them in the butt. We're gonna see a decline in viewership, a decline in revenue. I can almost guarantee it. And my question is like, how are they going to bounce back from this? Will this finally lead to one package for all of Liga MX, or at least like like a little bit of a simplification in ways which we can like enjoy this league, because it's crazy, and I wonder how many people they're going to lose, how much viewership they're going to lose with this incompetence.
Well,
Um,
so I mean, you have to remind me which teams are not on Televisa. I know Chivas aren't, and I know Tigres aren't, but I was under the impression everybody else was.
but the thing is like you have to get direct TV, right? Like it's not even all on VIX. So like now you have to get direct TV in order to watch through the N. Like they removed it from Fubo, and then VIX doesn't play everything. And then and then you have like people like on like one-offs. Like I think Cholos is a one-off. So
Yeah, I
like
think you're right about that one. Um,
I'm sure there's some other ones too that I'm forgetting.
yeah, so I ditched Fubo quite a while ago, probably at least like a year or two ago, in favor of YouTube TV because YouTube TV checked off all the boxes. And if I'm not mistaken, I mean that's how I watch Liga MX is YouTube TV. And you don't have to. I think the uh, misunderstanding with YouTube TV is you have to get the base plan and then add the Spanish package. I believe you can just buy the Spanish package and it's only like $35. So I would look into that. Um, but yeah, I think like almost everybody aside from Cholos and Tigres, I think they're all on TUDN and Univision and VIX Plus. Obviously, Chivas have their exclusive contract with Telemundo and Peacock. Um, But yeah, I can't really think of too many stragglers that are not accessible through VIX and through TUDN. We also had another player joining Liga MX, Sergio Ramos joining Rayados. Uh, never thought I'd see that happen, but here we are, man. Life is funny.
You know what's the funny thing about this move? Is that Sergio Ramos has been linked to Rayados since last tournament. And everyone was making fun of them. It was like, yeah, right. Sergio Ramos is coming, this and that. But he had been linked to Liga MX. And then this time when it was announced, I was like, again, con este pinche mame. Like, bro, we just went through this last year. And then, boom, Fabricio tweets about it. And I'm like, no mames.
Yeah, once I saw the Fabrizio tweet, I'm like, oh, it's happening. What the fuck?
Yeah, I thought, I swear to God, dude, I thought it was just, Mexican Twitter just running the typical shit they do. Yeah, no, for reals.
A quick side note, I mean, not to get like distracted, but what I love about Luka going to the Lakers is that it like broke Twitter, and Fabrizio has taken away that from the soccer world.
Like, but if it wasn't him, it would have been somebody else, bro. Someone had to do it.
Nah, man, this dude has. He's taking it away. Like things like 5 months in advance now. But no, Ramos to Monterrey. I mean, that's huge. But you always think though, if he would wind somewhere, it'd be like Monterrey or America. America, they're doing well. The one Americanistas, you think I'm hating on them. Obviously, they have a tricampeonato, but they haven't really had a media big signing like that, which is surprising. So Monterrey, they're doing their thing, man. They got Canales, they got Oliver, now they got Ramos. Their defense looks great. Their weakest spot is their goalie. Hey, if I was Monterrey, you know what I would have done? I would have gone for Rangel.
At this rate, all the fans are gonna associate themselves with Europe. Somos europeos, no somos mexicanos.
Españoles.
Somos españoles.
For real, but no, I mean that's a competitive team, but you already know how it's gonna play out. They're gonna get bounced out like by San Luis, Necaxa, one of those teams.
I am. This has been a great transfer window for Liga MX to get some more attention, some more eyeballs, because we have Sergio Ramos and we also had James Rodriguez, and people are like, wow, like Liga MX, man, making their fucking moves. I know we even got LAFC Twitter fans jealous. Like they had a tweet about Cruz Azul and how every player on their starting 11 would be considered a DP in the MLS.
Well, I mean, we also like Cruz Azul. They also bought like Atlanta United's best player. Now they bought like one of LAFC's best players. So no, I mean, Liga MX's been cooking. James, he's like to Colombia. What Messi to Argentina. Ramos. I mean, this guy won Euros, World Cup, Euros again. Everything he's done at the club level. I mean, he looks great for his age. I think he can still deliver. You know what I'm interested about watching him play? When the striker is the star, like when Messi came to MLS and the refs overprotect him, like they don't get him, like let him get his tackled as hard and stuff like that. Well, Ramos, he's not a striker. He's a defender. He's known for getting red cards. So I'm curious how many dirty fouls they'll forgive him, because you don't want to kick out like the star, one of the stars of the league. So I'm wondering, or if he'll be on cruise control, like not even going as hard on his tackles as he usually does.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he fits into the team and how many goals he'll end up scoring.
He has more career goals than Chicharito, so he might actually score a couple headers.
He's really good at penalties, but I'm interested also to see how he lines up, because you have Medina at center back and then you have Victor Guzman. And so, like, if you bench Victor Guzman, then you have a slow ass back line. And so I think it's going to be Guzman and Sergio Ramos.
Is Hector Moreno still over there?
He is, and he's also slow as fuck. So, like, I'm interested to see how they'll line up.
Yeah, I'm liking these moves. I'm wondering if we can get Marcelo in here, maybe Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't know, man. I, I think we have some riz. I think we have some money. I think we'd be able to attract some more European players.
I hope so, man, because let's be honest, for the longest time, and not to take your point away, um, fucking Al Pastor, but it's the fact that Liga MX hasn't been having these bomba signings for such a long time. The league was primarily an incestuous league where we only traded with each other. And now suddenly we're having this influx of shit. I'm going to be honest, even though it's past its prime, these quality players coming in and assuming the role. It's it's refreshing. It's fuck, dude. It's what you want out of your league.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like Rifado said, I brought up in the chat, like, if these motherfuckers don't go through this, they gotta make the league accessible, like from streaming wise. Like, I don't gotta be on what's it called, Pelota Libre with the porn ads, trying to catch the games because they're like on 10 different apps. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of Colombians that want to watch the league. They want to watch James versus Ramos. They want to watch, whoever versus whoever. And when you got to go through 10 different apps, or you're gonna go through VPNs, like they're losing money. Like, get everybody under the same roof. Do one big TV package, at least for international. If you want to keep all the different TVs in the league within Mexico, that's fine. But put everything under one package, sell it to South America, sell it to Asia, and see where it goes.
Look, man, I don't want to take the wind out of your sails, but I don't know what you're complaining about, all right? Because sometimes those porn ads are the only things that get me through another edition of fucking Mazatlan versus Querétaro.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
motherfucker, but those sites, they'd be like 45 seconds behind. You're watching it, and then someone's like, goal, goal, in the chat. You're like, oh, why am I even reading the chat?
It is bad, and those streams always drop, and then you have to go through like four different pop-up ads for betting sites, and maybe the fifth one might be porn, so you get lucky. Like, it's a rough experience.
Or you get the hentai one where you're clicking out and your girl walks behind your laptop and you gotta explain shit. Like, that's too much, man.
And the worst thing is, like, for some reason those commercials are so much louder than anything else.
I swear I'm watching Liga MX. I swear.
Exactly, dude. All you can do is, like, when the cops pull you over, just put your hands up.
I got a question for you guys.
Yeah, go for it, Richard. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. So, guys, quick question. Obviously, the World Cup is a lot closer than we think. So, if you guys had the option, based off all the available players from Mexico, to build your ultimate roster with the available players, who would you guys choose to hopefully have? If Mexico has a chance to win the World Cup, who would you guys assemble? If you guys were able to?
Yeah, that's a good question, Richard. Um, Based on what I've seen, I think you have to take Malagon, Rangel, and maybe Ochoa. I think those are your top three goalkeepers. I know Alex Padilla has uh, left Bilbao to get assimilated into Mexican culture, but I don't think he's going to get enough minutes to be considered for the goalkeeping position. Um, as far from there, the strikers, man, it's gonna be tough. I think Santi Gimenez and Raul Jimenez might go, and from there, it's a toss up, man. It can be really much anyone.
Yeah, Richard. Not to, like, avoid giving you an answer, but one of the biggest things is there's a reason why we're having these microciclos right now, right? Because we don't really have much depth in the field out there. Like, let's be honest, even in the moleros that we play, we're not looking fucking fantastic. So there's nothing out there that really gives me a lot of hope. If you've listened to previous episodes of this podcast, I've said is like, yo, 2026 is a wash, bro. Just forget about it. In fact, at this point, I'm pretty sure half of our players are going to get deported when they come into the
No
U.S.
mames, güey.
Like, let's just focus on 2030.
Yeah, man. One thing I would say is I would focus on a way to get Jimenez and Raul, Santi, both Jimenez on the same lineup. Drop that bullshit 4-3-3, win some European club, go back some old school, put two strikers up top. And then for my midfield, I would put Edson with someone else to do the dirty work. And honestly, find a way to convince Alvaro Fidalgo to be your playmaker.
Wow.
Have Edson and somebody else like Luis Chavez. Like Edson mainly dirty work, dropping in between the center backs. Luis Chavez to create some balance, and then Fidalgo right in
Wait,
front of him.
who's that Argentinian that got national citizenship and
Oh, the striker from Monterrey, whatever his fucking name.
Bertrame?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I'll take Santi. He's a striker. I'll still take Santi and Raul over him. But I think Fidalgo, though, would be, if you put like Luis Chavez and Edson behind them and you let Fidalgo cook, I think he would be an upgrade to the other midfielders on the team. And then everything else, like the wings, the left backs, the goalie, me vale madres. I think if you get that solid midfield, those two strikers, I think you can do something serious and you avoid 2026 being a wash.
Yeah, there's some exciting young players coming up. I know Montiel from Pachuca. I know there's like,
Just about to mention him.
yeah, I think he would be a fun player to make the cut, make the roster. I know Chino with his move to Belgium. I'm sure he's he's gonna try and fight for a spot there. Um, it's weird, man. We're in a weird cycle. There's a lot of players that were part of the previous cycle in 2022 that are now considered veterans, and their spot's not guaranteed. So we'll see what shakes up in the next year. But I know that right now, there's a lot of politics going on between Canada, USA, and Mexico. So, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if something happens between now and then, and maybe USA
it's not.
Maybe USA gets it
It's
themselves, or people, countries drop out. I know Canada's not happy with
that's
USA, so who knows what happens?
they already they agreed to terms. We have another month to see if this tariff novela ends.
Hey,
But
Mexico, how did Mexico host the '86 World Cup? Didn't they come in because
well,
Colombia
that's because
couldn't?
Colombia. Yeah, but right now it's not like none of those countries are saying we can't host. But I just want to say I disagree with Avdia saying that like forget about 2026. I think Mexico's gonna do good. I don't see them as contenders, but they're hosting. I could see them playing that quinto partido.
Güey, ya
It's
vamos
a
a
World
jugar el
Cup.
quinto partido. It's an extended World Cup.
That's right. But
It's
at that point,
48 teams.
yeah, that's right. At that point, it's not a wash. I mean, that would be if they didn't make it out of the group stage. I see Mexico getting out of the group stage and then winning their I don't know what's it going to be like quarterfinals.
Round of
But
32.
winning, yeah,
Or
right.
a round of, I don't even know, bro. Honestly,
32. Literally,
Just
round of 32, pretty much.
But yeah, I could see them winning that game, and then depending who the rival is, it could go. It should be a really good game. We'll see who who crosses Mexico's paths at that point. But I do think there's enough material there to put up a good fight, as opposed to where a lot of people saw Mexico after the World Cup, after 2022, when it was like, yeah, there's no hope. Um, but by this point, you have a Jimenez that started scoring. Not yeah, Raul Jimenez, and then you have Santi right now. He started scoring again because he had He had a drought for a while. So you got those two players doing well and a bunch of other new ones coming out the ranks. So now all of a sudden Mexico's looking, they're looking way better, and I think that helps them. And of course being hosts. And I think from the games with Aguirre and Rafa, I do see I have seen like a difference in the attitude of the players, and a big difference in how they go into the games and just más huevos. The other one that I'm curious about, and I wish he hadn't moved, Quiñones. So I don't know how he's doing in the Middle East, but that's another quality player Mexico has there. So I think I do think Mexico has the potential of doing it. If the stars align, of doing a deep run, of doing a Turkey, a South Korea, and probably getting all the way to semis. And I'll be clear about it. Even if they got that far, I still wouldn't see them as
Let's
favorites.
just get out of the group stage, man. Let's just get out of the group stage.
Dude, that's a given, Ray. I'll put my hat on it. Dude, who do you think they're gonna give Mexico as rivals, right?
I don't know. That's the thing. This World Cup is up in the air, and we could be. I'm still not clear on what this looks like. 48 clubs or 48 teams, man. It's like what? You're in a group of 3, and then what? You play what? 2 games, and then.
And then, like, see, you're at home.
I don't know, dude.
And you're cabeza de serie. So cabeza de series do not face each other. So out of all those groups, all the top teams, Mexico's not facing another top team.
I think the top 2 of each group make it, and then like the top 8, third place make it out. So there's no way Mexico doesn't make it out. Plus, the Simpsons had the finals, Mexico, Portugal. So we got a chance.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh shit! No, you're right. The Simpsons are the one thing that's gonna make me eat crow.
Yeah, dude.
So I agree with Joel. I'm also very optimistic for this World Cup, and I'm just gonna give you a quick roundup of like who's a contender in the eyes of the coach Aguirre. And so number 1 at left back we have Gallardo. Behind him, in my opinion, is Brian Gonzalez, who's been doing great this tournament for Pachuca. He was dropped for a while, but I don't see anyone else coming in and just like taking it from Gallardo. But I do think Brian Gonzalez is going to get a shout in the near future. Then we have Johan Vasquez in Genoa, obvious start. Now the question is, who's going to start next to him? Montes, his form has fallen. He's in Russia. But Chiquete or Orozco, whatever his fucking nickname is, I forget. He might start. And then Israel Reyes is finally starting for Club America, and I really like him because he's quick as fuck, and you could play him anywhere, like right back, center, defensive midfielder, center back. He's got a lot of intangibles that are great. So he'd probably be my pick next to Vasquez because I like to have one left back, one right back for those long diagonal balls. Obviously, I think the 4-3-3 is what they're going to go with because it's too late to change the formation. You still have too many old players that are so used to the 4-4-3, the 4-3-3, that you can't flip to the 4-2-2, 4-4-2. With only a year and change to go. And then at right back, which is I think really a toss up because you have Huescas doing good things, but he's lightweight in defense. Then you have Araujo, who's been like a flop at Bournemouth. And then you have Jorge Sanchez, who's been doing great for Cruz Azul, but I think he's kind of limited. Also flopped in his European move. And then Edson, is going to be our starter. But I would pair him up with Eric Lira and Montiel. Elias Montiel would be my box to box. He's just been playing almost every game for Pachuca. He didn't start this last one, which I thought was interesting, but I do chalk that up to him just getting a break because he runs a lot, covers a lot of ground, but he's a great box-to-box midfielder. He's quick. He's got the world ahead of him. And then Eric Lira, he's just been wonderful for Cruz Azul, pivotal piece. And I didn't think it was going to pan out for him going to Cruz Azul. I thought it was a big mistake to go from Pumas to Los Chemos, but he proved me wrong, and he's been looking really great. Whereas Chavez hasn't looked so good this last year or so. And then on the left wing, I think we start Chino Huerta, and then behind him is his Pumas counterpart Rubalcaba, who looked great in our last friendlies, in the last friendly against Porto Alegre, and he just came off another goal. He's heating up, and he looks really quick. So he would be my second go-to. Maybe Chucky Lozano breaks in after being frozen out, and then on the right we have Piojo, who's been in bad form, and then we have Luca Romero from Cruz Azul, who looks to be joining La Selección. If not, we can put Quinones on the right or the left, and then put Chino on the right. It's kind of interchangeable, but Quinones is kind of one of the top scorers of the Arabic League the last I looked, and he looks really good. I hope he goes to Europe, but he went to the Saudi league, and then up top, my favorite is Raul Jimenez because he's a facilitator, and we really do need help up top facilitating clear cut opportunities. And then, but if Jimenez gets better, then obviously Jimenez, Santi. So that's who I think we do well with, and that's who I think more or less Aguirre is going to choose. And like Joel said, I think we're going to surprise a lot of people this World Cup because the cards are going to be in our favor, and I think some of these younger guys are doing well in the league and abroad.
Don't get your hopes up, guys. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be as terrible as not making it out of the group stage, but it's not gonna be as amazing as surprise a lot of people. Then we make it out of the group stage, win that first round of 32, and then round of 16.
Look,
boom.
I know a lot can change in a year and a half. I don't know how far we have till the World Cup. I know a couple weeks ago I saw that we were 500 days away. I know a lot can change in a year, but the fact of the matter is, even if you give us this best version of Mexico, we're still maybe not even in the top 20 countries in terms of form, in terms of talent. Like, teams have surpassed us, bro. We're not, resting on our laurels anymore. Like, Japan is a fucking a force to be reckoned with. I know now that they're expanding it to 48, there's no way that Italy doesn't make it. I know that they missed out on a lot of World Cups. There's a lot of countries that just missed out, in the last World Cup that there's no way they don't miss out this time. So it's like you remember, like, yo, compared to the rest of the world, like we're okay. We're like maybe in the 20th in the world right now,
which is good. If you think about it,
Yeah,
you're not going to face all 19 teams. If you want to win, you'll probably have to beat out of those other teams, maybe 4.
I'd say the only way we get a deep run is if FIFA, treats us like Argentina. That's the only way.
Speaking of the World Cup, another thing I've noticed is like, Estadio Azteca, they have like their remodeling going on. Chivas is going to get like, new field, new grass. Monterrey might do the same. But what I've noticed as far as like stadiums here in the U.S., like haven't really seen, any action being taken to like quote unquote get ready for the World Cup. Like I was reading like one like Arrowhead, like where the Kansas City Chiefs play at. It's just a big ass parking lot outside of KC. There's only like one bus that runs through that stadium. And then, like other countries, you have like no parking lot, but you have like 4 high speed trains around the stadium. They can move quick, get people in and out. So it just feels like I don't know if the U.S. is not caring about it, or they just feel like the infrastructure is already there. They don't need to make many changes.
Yeah.
But I forgot that KC had a fucking host the game. That's
what
crazy.
Is that?
I forgot that they were a host stadium.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their stadium, man, it's just like a little bit outside of the KC, and it's just a big ass parking lot. That's all. I mean, it just sounds like a fucking nightmare if you think about it. They'll probably get like some random weak ass teams, But yeah, I haven't really heard about like cities here like already taking action because this shit's coming right up.
Yeah, well, let's look at the stadiums here in the States. Atlanta, Mercedes Benz Stadium. I mean, that thing's brand spanking new. You have Gillette Stadium in Boston. You have the AT&T Stadium in Dallas. I mean, these are all pretty modern stadiums.
Gillette Stadium has a T station that rolls right into it. So
Oh, there you go.
transit in and out of Boston. Logan has a T station right there, so you can land at the airport, go right to the Gillette. You'll be fine. The other one that I just want to touch a little bit on infrastructure because these are cities that I've lived in. It's Seattle. Seattle has been undergoing a beautification project ever since the World Cup was announced. They're trying to regain some land going all the way down to the waterfront. They also have the link that drops you off right next to the stadium. I used to do that all the time. So that infrastructure for the major cities are there. Now, KC, bro, KC's a hot piece of shit. All right. Like, there's a reason why it's in a fucking flyover state. So let's just get that one thing out of like set up. LA has the infrastructure already. They have the metro. They have all of these things.
Yeah.
It just depends on the little shithole venues like the flyover states.
Yeah, I can't speak to Houston either, where the Houston, what are they called? The fucking Texans? What a shitty ass name for a franchise. I'm sorry, but yeah.
My biggest concern of like Houston is the fact that with how many people are going to be there, if somebody spills a cup of water, the whole city's going to flood.
Yeah, I know. I don't see Ricky on our show tonight, but maybe he can speak to Energy Stadium. In LA, you already mentioned SoFi, Miami, Hard Rock Stadium, New York, New Jersey. You have MetLife. That's where the final will be hosted, if I'm not mistaken. And then you have Lincoln Financial Field in Philly. And then out here in the Bay Area, although I would not consider Santa Clara the Bay Area, we have Levi's Stadium, which is a fucking shit show. It's next to Great America. And yeah, I absolutely despise that stadium and how to get there. It's not easy.
I mean, the most important thing to remember about Levi Stadium is that this is the stadium where a fan stabbed another fan during a Mexican national team game.
That's true. Dude was fucking bleeding out.
That's what you have to remember about Levi.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not my favorite stadium. It's also pretty brutal in the summertime. There's not a lot of shade because it's too close to the San Jose airport, so they weren't allowed to put a proper roof over the stadium. At least that was their reasoning. It's just not easy to get to. You know, if you're traveling, if a lot of people make the mistake of flying into San Francisco, and then they realize that they're like an hour away from Santa Clara. So yeah, pro tip: if you're planning on going to that stadium and watching a game, fly into San Jose. That is the pro tip there. As far as Mexico goes, yeah, I mean, Chivas, they're pretty new. I think they debuted their stadium in 2010, so it's not that old. I know they've made some updates to their lights and stuff. But Azteca, I don't know if it's gonna get done in time, man. It doesn't look good.
I don't think so, man. And we always touch base on this. And if anything, it's gonna be the most Mexican fucking thing ever. We're gonna slap a little bit of cement on the exterior, that way it looks new, and we're just gonna paint it. Like it's bad, man.
And that's where the first match is going to be played. That's the debut of the World Cup is in El Azteca. So, yeah, they have less than 500 days to get their shit together.
And you know why all of this happened? Because America and their palco owners. Like that was the whole shit show and the reason for the delays and delays and delays. It's the fact that during the World Cup they don't have access to their boxes. When America sold those boxes, they sold the rights to them in perpetuity. to where it didn't matter if it was going to be a World Cup, you were still going to get them. And that's in writing. And now FIFA's come in and said, what the fuck you mean? That's not the way we operate. Fuck out of here. There's a reason why your stadiums aren't sponsored by anyone. Your palcos, we sell them, and all of those things.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting how this plays out. We're at the 2-hour mark. Want to put a bow tie on this episode and give you guys the opportunity to have your closing thoughts. One thing I'll call out, again, we have Conca Champions Cup action tomorrow, Rayados versus Forg, and then Tigres versus Real Esteli. And maybe too premature to expect a debut from Santiago Gimenez, but his Milan will play against Roma in the Coppa Italia tomorrow at noon. Guys, I'm going to have to get a Paramount subscription. Fuck. Not looking forward to that. But anyways, I'll let you guys have your closing thoughts.
My closing thoughts, a little quick on Liga MX. Chivas, they're 5 points from being in the shitter with Santos, but they're also 5 points away from being third place with Tigres. But honestly, I think they're closer to the Santos shitter. This coach, he just doesn't inspire me, man. I don't know if I'm being fat phobic or what, because Almeida was in shape, Pauno was in shape, even Gago was in shape. I just see like this chubby Spanish guy with his arms crossed all the time. Like he looks like he's overwhelmed. Like I don't know. I'm not asking for his head, but I just don't see nothing coming out of him, man. As far as the rest of the league, like you guys said, a lot of good signings. I know, people like Ron are gonna say it's not a good time. The real good times were, when we were in Libertadores and all that shit. But for this present day, this is probably the best the league has been in a few years, man. A lot of good signings. Hopefully, it
Facts.
takes off. MLS has all their Barcelona players, mainly in Miami, Puig, and Galaxy. Now, Liga MX got all these Real Madrid players. I'm actually looking forward to Leagues Cup. Now that's actually going to be home and away, and it's only going to be 18 versus 18 teams. I think it can actually get interesting. Same thing with Conca Champions, with the World Cup club version, the way they made it, it actually, that's a lot of reason these teams are getting these signings. So it actually makes it an incentive to actually want to win Conca Champions now. Because, you get a lot of money going to the World Cup. You get a lot of eyes on you. It's easier for you to sign players and create your brand around the world. So I think it's a good time, man. I think it's a good time. I'm excited for it. And as far as Santi, I try to buy the jersey. I only have Chivas jersey, Real Madrid jersey, but I said, fuck it. I'm going to give me a Milan jersey. They only got size small, man. Puma already writes extra tight, but that's all they had on their website. Well, they had the long sleeve, the short sleeve. They had a velvet bummer long sleeve kind of guy, the retro look, and they only had size small. But it looks like I'm interested. I'm interested to see that, Polish chick, Pinchi Santi linking up, being best friends, hugging it out, and then they come play the Clásico and shit hits the fan. I'm excited.
Yeah. Take the opportunity to ask anybody listening if you got a size El Elefante for Habibi and FC Gorditos. Let us know.
Thank you. In a treadmill.
All right, who's next?
Ahora sí, putos, yo sigo. All right, so just to kind of echo what Don Alpastor has told us, and it's been a fucking beautiful signing season, right? During this transfer window, it's los billetazos han volado. We've had drama, fucking novelas that changed every 15 minutes. It was better than fucking watching Ruby. And trust me, Rui's a hell of a banger in case you guys haven't taken the time to watch that. So, just what do we have to hope for? I hope for, God, hopefully not another Campeonato del America with these new signings, this new blood coming in. You get reinvigorated into our league, and now we start getting more attention from abroad. That's what I want to see. Now, furthermore, let's be honest, we're pretty early on. Cruz Azul is heating up. We'll see what it becomes. This coach, I don't have a lot of faith in the man. I just don't. It's one of those things where, dude, the house sauce was good, and now you're mixing and plugging and just fucking everything up. What are you trying to do? What is your idea of football? Because as of right now, you haven't shown me anything. The team is functioning off of individualism, not as a team. So I'll give you 3 more weeks. And if we don't call and name a head coach in that time, we're fucked. Which, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that big of a deal for me personally, because I've said before, I want our own stadium over a title. All right. I would hate to win a liguilla. I would hate to win a Conca Champions in Seúl. Just pinches nacos, güey, aficionados pendejos, bautizan a los niños en cerveza. No mames, güey. Prefiero quedarme desamparado and homeless than being there. So I just don't want it. Now, my last closing thought is, how much do you think FIFA is regretting giving the World Cup to the US, Canada, and Mexico? Especially right now, que nos estamos echando chingazos y vergadazos left and right. And the whole thing was supposed to be that it was going to be accessible to fans. They were going to be able to visit 3 countries in the same trip. They were going to be able to cross borders openly with proper documentation and all of these things. And now, bro, it seems like you have to pick either between 2 countries and a fascist one. So pick which one you want. But guess what? Fascism is ruling the day because that's where most of the venues are being held.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. These tensions are rising between Canada, USA, and Mexico, and we'll see. I think FIFA will step in and be like, "Hey, se aplacan. This is a World Cup. Everyone's watching you guys. Figure shit out between now and then." But hey, man, I've seen videos of Canadians booing the U.S. national anthem. That's when I know shit's getting serious, bro. Because
that's good. That's good for
At
the
a
rivalry.
hockey game.
bro, I'm like, Canadians are fucking nice, bro. Like, the fact that you've gotten them pissed off, shit's getting
And then,
serious.
y luego México acá también de ser, ¿sabes qué? Yo también soy vergudo. A ver qué chingados voy a hacer. 35%.
No, they both agreed for now.
Por ahorita, güey, pero.
No, man, they agreed
Okay,
for some
but they
shit that
did.
was already in place, dude.
But
all
they
the stuff they
agreed.
agreed was already in place.
Even Trudeau stuff
Most
was
of
in
it
place.
under Biden, he had already like agreed to some of the shit. Just look it
Well,
up.
they called trompas and they came to agreement. So
I don't know.
so they.
Porque le ofrecieron lo
don't see
mismo,
the
pero el güey
tension
está
right
muy
now.
pendejo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to get to the whole politics thing, but I
They
don't
did
think
call.
FIFA has that much power. I wouldn't be surprised if the good old Donald says, you know what, we got the majority of the venues. Fuck those other 2 countries
For
or
real.
no World Cup.
I can see that
And then
shit
FIFA
happening.
bends over, man. FIFA has to bend over to him.
We'll
if
see
he
what
says,
happens.
get your whole World Cup out of here or I keep it all, I can see it happening.
It's going to be interesting, man.
Or Donald hands
but
the World Cup
that.
to Ochoa. And that's
but things aren't at that point, though, to say that, like, to say that, okay, we're heading in that direction. He did announce tariffs, but they both called him. They eventually called him to negotiate, even if it's stuff that was already on the table. They still called him and they talked and whatever they did.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't care about the whole politics thing. But from a soccer perspective, they got to quit with this bullshit of multiple countries hosting the World Cup. You know, like 2030, Paraguay is going to have a game. Argentina is going to have a game. Uruguay is going to have a game. Portugal, Spain, and who else is going to have games? Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck? You
it's
know, the good
definitely,
thing about a World Cup, it used to be like you would go to that country, you
yeah,
explore the fuck out of that country, you enjoy it. You could technically watch all the games if you wanted to. And now you got to travel to 3, 4, 5 countries to enjoy a World Cup. Not my miss, man. It's not a fucking world safari trip.
Yeah, it's not easy for people that just want to be able to go and explore the city and country and watch some games. It's going to be all.
yeah,
And the thing about it is at least here in Cum, it's not close. You know, people think that the states, like, it's not easy to get around. So
yeah. And
yeah, if you're trying to
within all the
follow.
stuff that FIFA imposes, it's gotten way difficult for other countries to host it, and then especially with them wanting 48, expanding it to that amount. So I think it was the writing was on the wall that it was going to be, and the Japan Korea wasn't that bad. I think this was going to work out fine, and
We'll
I don't
see.
see that thing happening with you guys saying that. You know, I don't think it's going to get to that. I don't think Trump even knows there's a World Cup that's going to be played right here. But I think that's going to be the norm for a while. To have multiple hosts, because I don't see FIFA going back down to 16 or 24 teams. I think they're going to stay at 48. Maybe even try to up. Just fuck it, 260 or whatever.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, since you're on, you have any closing
Yes,
thoughts?
that was it.
Oh,
That
for
was
sure.
it. Like I don't I don't see yeah, I don't think there's any problems right now with like the World Cup's in danger of that. Um, Perhaps if they did enter some who knows, but yes, stop fear mongering there, Habibi.
All right, Rifalo, I think you're
No,
up
yeah,
next.
All right. Thanks for having me, everyone. Just to touch on the FIFA talk, I think like who knows what can happen. We're like in this new age of like corruption with like these huge conglomerates, these corporations and stuff. And part of the reason why the World Cup after this is going to be in South America, Africa, and Europe is to reset the clock for Saudi Arabia to take the one after. See, they have to go around the world and hit up all these different continents before it can go back to Asia. And by adding all these, different countries like the ones in South America, Morocco in Africa, and then Spain in Europe, they're able to just hop back to Asia, and so and that's exactly what Saudi wanted. Um, so yeah, that's the reason we're getting all these different venues, which is just basically FIFA corruption. But on to my closing thoughts. It's the same as always. It's a rundown of the morros in the league this week. This last jornada, not the one, not the mid jornada, but this last one during the weekend. We had 65 U23 players, 17%, or in between 1/5 and 1/6, and we've been around there. 60 to 70 has been the sweet spot for a while. So there's a good uh, crop of young players that are just solidifying themselves in the league, and I just want to highlight a few of them. Jose Rubalcaba, I've been touting him for a while. I touted him a few minutes ago. From San Bernardino or Cal State San Bernardino, 23-year-old, got a goal, looked good in the friendlies. I want him for the national team. And then you have Rodrigo Lopez, who was a right winger, 23-year-old, provided the assist for Pumas in their 3-2 win over San Luis. And then let's see, who else did I want to shout out? I already touched on Stefano Carrillo, who was bought by Feyenoord. He's 18 years old. He's got good intangibles, but I was looking him up. He's got 12 games and 0 goals, and Feyenoord bought him anyways. So like I'm interested to see what they see in him, right? Because when they bought Santi, they made him faster. They made him a better player. And I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with Carrillo. because he didn't look special to me. If there was a guy from Santos, which we've all said is on fire right now, a dumpster fire, so to speak, it's Tahiel Jimenez. I would have gotten him instead. But it's curious that they got Carrillo instead of Jimenez in that instance. Another guy, let's see, Pachuca, Elias Montiel. I already touched on him. He's played basically every game, but this one was different because they rested him and he was a sub. He's been playing a lot. But yeah, let's see who else we got. Chivas, I've already stated. Mateo Chavez looking great. Yael Padilla, he got the goal from the left wing. Great player. Could play on either wing. And then I've already been touting Gamberos, who I think is just a great player, and I expect a lot from him. I hope he grows. Club America, let's see. Miguel Ramirez, 22-year-old midfielder, got an assist in their 4-0 victory over Juarez. Good for him. There seems to be like 3 or 4 morros that are like in real contention at America. So like it wasn't a fluke that they trotted out the U23 and then like forgot about them. That doesn't seem to be the case. So kudos to the Huilas for like investing in their youth and then being consistent in that investment because they only had 3 kids, but they all feature a lot. Like Ramon Juarez, the 23-year-old center back, he's like in and out starter, and he's from the cantera. He's been doing really good things for them, and now we have Miguel Ramirez, providing an assist. He was a sub. Cholos, I thought Cholos versus Cruz Azul. I thought that was the game of the jornada, and Alejandro Gomez, a 23-year-old center back / left back who used to be in Portugal, got the assist for Cholos. I thought he looked good. Gil Mora was a starter, but he didn't do too much. It was a great game, though. On the other side, I counted Luca Romero, who got the goal in the 6th minute. I'm counting him as a Mexican because the rumors state that he's going to play for La Selección, and he was technically born in Mexico. So we also have Chiquete, who was a starter, and then Amaury Morales, 18-year-old left winger, center attacking midfielder. He's been a starter or like a sub, an important piece for Cruz Azul, and I really like him. I want to see him for the Selección. And yeah, that was it. Thanks for having me, everyone, and great talking points.
Thanks for following for that wrap up. It's my favorite part of the closing thoughts, really, hearing all these young players get minutes. My hot take, well, first of all, Chivas will be playing Tijuana on Sunday. It'll actually be the last game of this jornada, which I thought was interesting. I noticed that Chivas are kind of experimenting with different times for their matches. I know the other day they played like at 3, which is not typical of them on when they're in El Acron. And it looks like this one they're going to be playing Sunday nights. So we'll see how that drives attendance. And they have this midweek game between Cibao and the Dominican Republic, so that's probably why they're pushing out their game until Sunday nights because this game's on Thursday. My hot take, and this one's going to be, kind of fucked up, but I don't think Oscar Garcia will finish this season as head coach of Chivas based on the current trajectory of things, based on how Chivas are doing right now. And I dare to say that it could be as soon as end of March. And why then? Well, if we get past this team from the Dominican Republic, we'll play America in the round of 16. And depending on how those matches go and the league game, because they play America during the league in March as well. I mean, if it's a flat out embarrassment, this guy that could be his game. That could be his head. And I think it could happen as quickly as that, which is a shame. The good news is, and I don't know if this has been confirmed yet, but I heard this last week and I'm very excited, is that Liga MX will be returning to EA Sports FC. It hasn't been the same since they left, and having to play eFootball, as much as I enjoy competition and Konami and and EA going at it. EA eFootball is just not it. And the news of Liga MX getting their rights, their licensing back to EA it's like, everything's getting restored back into the world. I play a lot of FIFA, so I'm looking forward to seeing Chivas back in EA next year, just in time for the World Cup too. I also wish that FIFA would start making these standalone World Cup games because they were so good. You got to play the World Cup qualifiers and learn a little bit more about each country. And ever since they just added it to the regular FIFA, they haven't really tried as much. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys tonight. Thank you for your support. Episode 450. We'll catch you guys next Tuesday for some more hot takes and some reactions. Hopefully by then Santi makes his debut for Milan. We shall see. But we'll find out next week. Have a good night, guys.